This is a presentation of the IHSA TV network.
Well, the rain has been coming down for a few hours here at Memorial Stadium in Champaign, but the fans don't care. They're out here. The players don't care. They are ready to go. We have crowned 7 state champions over the last 2 days. We've got 1 more to go. It's the largest class in Illinois football. It's the 8A state championship game between Bolingbrook and Loyola. Both teams trying to rewrite some state championship history at their schools. It's been a long time since Loyola has won a state title. Bolingbrook here, they're trying to get their first state championship, so it should be a good one. The 8A state final is just a few minutes away, and let's send it up to the booth for the call of tonight's 8A championship game. Jack McInerney and Dave Bernhardt, guys.
Well, you are right, Aaron. It has been a long time. In fact, the last time both of these two schools have reached a title game was 1993. They were in different classes. Now, for Loyola, though, they had a chance. Last 2 years knocked off by eventual state champion Maine South in the semifinals. Bolingbrook coming back from a 5-5 season.
Well, they are, but they had all these athletes coming back. They knew this was going to be one of the better teams in the history of Bolingbrook. John Avalo talked about that before the season. It's come to fruition. They are, and they're here.
And one of the reasons why is their quarterback. He started as a freshman, as a wide receiver, now a junior quarterback, one of the best around, one of the best in the nation is an athlete, Aaron Bailey.
For any of you football fans at home, if you remember last year, Auburn's Cam Newton, well, you're going to see possibly the high school version of that tonight. He's an outstanding athlete. He does everything. He's almost unstoppable. He will be a key. He is really one heck of a football player, and he's only a junior.
And in charge of containing Bailey, the Loyola defense led by Lars Lepatka. This is a defense that has been renowned for years.
Well, they've only given up in a 13-game schedule about 8 points or less as an average, and they play in that brutal Catholic League Blue division. 11 of their 13 opponents have been playoff teams, so when you can play defense like that against a schedule like that, you know you're darn good.
And on the flip side for Loyola, they have a quarterback of their own, Malcolm Weaver, a different type of quarterback than Aaron Bailey.
He really reminds me a little bit of Michael Vick. I mean, he's a scrambler. He's got a rocket for arm, and sometimes that is when it hurts him because he just can't put a touch on it. He just drills the ball all the time. But he certainly is a factor with his feet and his arm.
Keep an eye on the quarterbacks here tonight. Will the weather have a factor? It didn't in the 7A game. We are getting set. Moments away. Loyola Academy, Bolingbrook, an 8A champion to be crowned tonight in Champaign. We welcome you back to a rainy Memorial Stadium on the campus of the University of Illinois in Champaign. It is the final game of the 8 to crown a state champion. In order to make it to this point, you have to win 4 games in the playoffs. This is how Loyola did it. Back-to-back shutouts over Evanston and Dunbar. And against Evanston, Malcolm Weaver passed for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. He threw for 270 and 3 scores in a win over Dunbar. 356 yards passing for Weaver and 3 touchdowns against Lyons. And then an oh-so-tough semifinal win against Glenbard North as the Ramblers trailed 13-0 at the half. For Bolingbrook, Aaron Bailey, 304 yards in the win against Neuqua Valley. The win over Mount Carmel avenged a round 1 loss last year to the Caravan. Then against Downers Grove South, Bolingbrook scored on 7 straight possessions. However, they suffered 2 crucial injuries. More on that later. Semifinal game, Aaron Bailey rushes for 202 yards. A game the Raiders trailed with 8 minutes to play before pulling it out 22-19. We are just seconds away. The kickoff that these two teams that fans across the state have been waiting for. Bolingbrook, Loyola, that's coming your way next.
The IHSA State Football Championships on the IHSA TV network are brought to you by Country Financial. We are ready for kickoff of the 8A State Championship game. I had a chance to talk with Loyola head coach John HOLECEK. He says winning the turnover battle will be paramount for his team, and they've got to contain Aaron Bailey. They cannot let the Bolingbrook quarterback get out and run. That will be the first order of business for his team. And now for a look at Bolingbrook, let's send it over to Sophia Minner.
For Bolingbrook head coach John Ivelo, the message was pretty clear, and that was hold on to the ball. He said it is critical that we be successful on first and second down. We can't afford to be in third and fourth and long situations. I asked him about the weather. He said, hey, this is football. Tighten up that chin strap. Dave and Jack?
You're right, Sophia. You can tighten up the chin strap, but both coaches have said you better tighten up that grip on the football here tonight as well.
Well, this is a much anticipated showdown tonight. People have been talking up in the Chicago area for a long time about this matchup, and now it has come to fruition.
Our officiating crew tonight, your 8A championship game, James Glutert is your head referee. John Ferlito, along with Kenneth Kessler, your line judge, George Casper, and John Jacobzi is your back judge. And we're underway. 8A football here in Champaign. You can feel it on the first hit of this game, the type of hitting that will happen here tonight. On the return for Bolingbrook, see number 12 making his way off, Brandon Lewis.
Well, this is going to be a very physical game, and there's going to be a lot of hard hitting, and I don't know how many fumbles are going to be because these guys are going to really be popping each other. But keep your eyes on Bailey, the quarterback. He is something special. And look at those huge splits that the Bolingbrook offensive line takes.
Loyola shoots those splits, and Bailey will go nowhere. 11 white jerseys in on that stop. The offense for Bolingbrook, we said, it's led by Aaron Bailey. He has to get some help up front. One of the men doing the blocking for him will be playing his football right here at the University of Illinois. That is Robbie Bain playing the guard. Otha Thurman, Fultz, well in the offensive line. Then here's your skill players. Great running backs in Huff, Brown, and Stover.
Well, there's tremendous speed down on that offensive side of the football. Halfback pass, he's wide open.
Overthrown into the wind. They were looking for Chandler Podkarski. We'll take a look at it again as Bolingbrook goes to the trick bag early.
Well, they know that Loyola is going to come after him hard, but this is just a good job right here of trying to get a fast score on. And you can see, watch the cornerback. He tries to come up to help, and the safety doesn't get over on time because the safety's responsibility is the corner will come up on the option, and Bolingbrook runs the option. The corners are going to have to make those tackles, and that's why the safety's got to come over the top and help.
DJ Pruitt, the man who threw the pass, got a hit in the shoulders from his head coach, John Ivelo. Bailey, trouble, creates, and it will be 3 and out for the Raiders.
That's a big stop early, and we'll probably be saying this all night about the various big play here, big play there, but I'm going to tell you right now, with both of these football teams, they're so exciting and so good that each stop is going to be crucial. But here's an athlete right here. There you go. You just can't bring him down. 215 pounds, and he runs like he's 150 pounds.
Number 90, Eric Hauser, had a beat on him. Hauser, the all-stater.
Psychologically, that's a good stop for Loyola, and it gives something to Bolingbrook to think about.
Bailey doubles as the punter. He's had some great punting games. If he chooses to punt, he's going to go. Aaron Bailey going for the first down.
That was just going to be my comment, David. There's nothing greater than having the threat of your starting quarterback to be your punter. It gives you a whole different dimension on special teams. And there's a perfect example right here. He just takes off. They just have nobody taking the edge. The corner runs off with the receiver, and there he takes advantage of it, uses his speed, and picks up a real big first down.
16 yards on that first down pickup. So in the first 4 plays, we've seen a halfback option pass. We have seen a fake punt. Bolingbrook will hang on now in Loyola territory.
It really surprised me that Loyola did not have anybody in the edges with him back to be the punter to contain him.
Bailey downfield. That one is caught. He finds Xavier Perkins inside the 10-yard line.
Defensive back took a bad release on the inside, and he threw the ball to the outside. And Bailey is not noted to be a big passer, but they want to jump on him early, knowing that those corners are going to be looking to come up. Throws the ball over the outside. The defensive back went to the inside. Big pickup there on the play for Bailey. Now, he's not noted as a passer, but when you need to have it, he does. He's only thrown 92 passes all year long.
You can see what Perkins had to battle. The rain continuing to fall here at the stadium in Champaign. 39 yards on a pass and a first down and goal for Bolingbrook.
That could be a clock.
Delay of game call. We'll take a look at the Loyola defense. This is a defense that gives up only 8 points per game. Rushin, Goodwin, and Scott, defensive front. Linebackers so very quick. We talked about Eric Bowser.
False start. Offense.
Lars Lepaka, Michael Pololian, then your defensive secondary, Belinsky, Ford, Dooley. This is a defense that just flies to the ball. That's what they're directed to do.
Well, the problem is with a team like this, they have got to be able to tackle in the open field because Bolingbrook is going to put them in those situations.
Nothing up the middle. Second down and goal from the 11.
This will be the fastest team by far that Loyola has had to face in their 13 games coming into this game. And they've played a very tough schedule, as I mentioned in the open. Of their 13 opponents, 11 of them were playoff teams. And so, you know, they're used to tough teams, but they're not used to seeing this kind of speed that Bolingbrook has. Jet sweep.
Bailey will give it to Pruitt.
Oh, there's a clip. Great defensive job right there. Part of the way you stop speed like that is to get the proper angles, and they fought upfield to stay outside so that he could not get to the edge, and they wanted to force him inside. Outstanding job right there by Loyola's defense.
See number 40, Luke Ford, playmaker. He's always around the ball. Could be a Division I prospect, but he wants to be a doctor. Going to concentrate on academics once he hits college.
Well, that tells you something about Loyola's academic prowess. They have an outstanding
Illegal block in the back. Offense. Still second down.
Okay, this is something that helps Loyola here, but you can see right there, just the clip wide open, no doubt about it, but you can see everybody getting to the football, and that's what Loyola is noted for. When they get there with a bad attitude.
They don't read keys. That's why I said they just fly to the ball. They find the ball and they get to it.
It's going to be a throwback.
Bailey looking left side, too much.
Saw that coming all the way, and so did the Loyola defender. What they like to do is they like to roll him in one direction and hope that the defense slides all the way over in the direction that he's flowing to, and then they throw it back against the grain, but Loyola would have nothing to do with it.
Omar Stovar, the intended receiver, he was covered tightly by Robert Dooley.
Now, so far, excuse me, David, and so far we haven't really seen Bailey running the football on the option, and that's his forte, his strength. He's done it all year long, and in all the playoff games, he's had over 150 yards in every one of those games running the football.
Third down and goal from the 25. Bailey forced to run here, only gets 5. What was a first and goal from inside the 10 has now become a fourth and goal from the 20-yard line.
Well, this is showing Loyola that they can play with Bolingbrook's speed, and that's so very important, not only from a coaching standpoint, but psychologically for the players. They've heard all about Bailey. They've heard all about Bolingbrook and the tremendous speed they have. All they got to do is read the papers. And so they know about it, and so you come into it itching to find out, are they really that fast? And now in the first couple of series, they're able to play with them, and so that gives them a good idea.
John Iblow chooses to use the first of his 3 timeouts right now on 4th and goal from the 20. Bolingbrook, first possession of the game, looking to put the first points of the game on the board. See John HOLECEK, former member of the Buffalo Bills, played his college football right here at the University of Illinois. This is the second former NFL player that is coaching a team in the state championships. Don Beebe won a state title for Aurora Christian in Class 3A. Here it is, 4th and goal from the 20. Bailey lofts it to the end zone.
Picked off.
And staying right there will be Eric Belinsky. The net effect doesn't matter. The ball's going to come out to the 20. If he drops it, the ball stays to the 20. Loyola holds defensively here in the first possession.
Good coverage there defensively. He just ran vertical routes, and he just laid it up, hoping that they could outrun him, and they just did a nice job. Now, he basically tripped over the foot of his defender, so there was no real interference call there, but a nice stop by Loyola here early.
Malcolm Weaver to bring Loyola onto the field, the senior quarterback, 2-year starter. And on the ground for 5 yards on first down, they give it to Willie Polivos, the 5'10", 175-pound senior.
If you talk to a lot of people up in the Chicago area that are familiar with Bolingbrook and have seen them play, they say that they have one of the faster teams, both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively, but that they have absolutely the fastest secondary. So how you negate the speed is you run right at it.
Weaver up over the top. He has it to Marquise Martin Hayes. First down, Ramblers. Loyola offense goes this way. It's a unit that has really come on this year, known for their defense. Delaney, Dixon, Spagnola, Sanborn, and Baumeister, your offensive line for the Ramblers. The backs, Willie Polivos, and the running backs, the receivers, Martin Hayes, Richie Weeman, Peter Pujols, and Charlie Dowdle. An excellent group of receivers, great hands. Polivos still on his feet.
Great run right there after the initial hit for a loss in the backfield, spins out and picks up 5.
Willie Polivos.
And he's not a big back, he's 175 pounds. Watch that hit right there. Does a nice job of staying up the field, picks up 7 yards. Now, Loyola's staying after him. They're not huddling. They want to make sure that they can get right after Bolingbrook. Don't give them a lot of time to get adjusted.
What a great catch.
Wow!
Peter Pujols. How did he snag that one out of the air?
Wow, what a catch.
20 yards, fingertip grab in the rain.
I'd check those gloves if I was Bolingbrook. There's got to be some Velcro or super glue on there. What a catch right there. Now, in most cases, you talk about kids having alligator arms. He didn't have them there.
Loyola quickly back at it. 5-yard pickup by Polivos. The Bolingbrook defense goes this way.
They're staying right after him. They're not huddling. They're getting right up on the ball. They're trying to wear him down, not give him an opportunity to make any adjustments immediately. Malcolm Weaver's a threat back there. He's very much like Bailey, but he throws the ball a little bit more effectively than Bailey does.
Motion all the way through.
Bubble screen.
To Pujols again. His defender falls down. Pujols should have enough for the first down.
Now, something that Malcolm Weaver has done, last year he was a quarterback, and what he did there is he ran the ball all the time. He would scramble out. He really never looked downfield. This year he's changed his whole dynamic. He now is really more of a passer and then a runner and a scrambler.
Polivos for a short pickup. Bottom of the pile, number 79, Anthony Sharp, 6'4", 330 pounds.
The only possible negative that I could say about Malcolm Weaver is the fact that he has problems putting a touch on the football. He always seems to want to drill it in there when he needs to put a little more touch on it. But he's done a great job for Loyola this year, both running the ball and throwing the football.
He put it in the air again. He was looking for Martin Hayes, Marquise Martin Haynes. Bolingbrook playing without one of the top defensive players in the state. Antonio Morrison broke his foot in the quarterfinals against Downers Grove South. Expect to have surgery in a couple of weeks. He was headed, or he still is headed, to the University of Florida. So Florida came up here to recruit Morrison. That's a big loss defensively for Bolingbrook.
Yeah, this is a good play here. They got 4 receivers on the wide side. He's going to the shallow side. It looks like a little push-up, but yeah, it got called. It got called.
Pujols is looking for that flag. He got it.
They're trying to match up somebody on an island by their formation at 4 receivers to the wide side of the field, and then they're going with a split end to the short side, and they want to get some matchup.
Pass interference.
Just
offense.
Isolate. Wow.
Lost it down. 4th down.
Pujols with the push. He pushed Parker Westfall.
Well, we saw a flag, but we missed that part of it.
And all of a sudden, the line of scrimmage go back to the 40. Again, you can see the rain. You've seen some of the effects of the rain on the helmets and through the sky, through the lights. The wind is blowing from right to left. It's about a 15-mile-per-hour wind combined with the rain. And now it will be time to punt for Loyola with the wind at their back.
You can see how they spread them out, kind of a unique punt formation, certainly for high school, not so much in colleges, but for high school it is to spread them out like that into a slot look. You get better coverage on the punt.
DJ Pruitt back, and this punt will sail out of bounds. They did not want to give Pruitt any opportunity for the return. So we've had each team with the possession. We have no score. We've just about reached the midway point of the first quarter. A punt of 27 yards. Bolingbrook will start inside their 20.
Kind of an interesting test back and forth early to see, you know, who can do what on offense and who can do what on defense. And I think now they'll start settling down after they've each had a couple of series to test each other. There's John HOLECEK, has done a tremendous job at Loyola. An outstanding football player, and he's done a great job of coaching at Loyola.
Bailey, first time he's run the option, and may have lost a little.
Got 2 or 3 people on him. A player like that, you're going to assign 2 or 3, and in most cases you'll assign, if he's that good, which he is, you'll assign 2 players to him and force him to pitch the ball. One of the problems with Bolingbrook is if he does pitch the ball, their backs have great speed and they can break the long one. So you're really darned if you do and darned if you don't.
Well, as you said, Bailey can hoof it, 8.2 yards per carry. If he pitches it, he may go to Darian Brown, who averages 12.9 yards per carry.
Throw the ball again. Got a man open deep.
Doesn't see him. He'll take off. Brought down. Nice tackle at the 15-yard line, making the stop, number 33, David Carter. He's a 6'1", 215-pound senior. He's the brother of Chance Carter, the former Loyola star, now at Northwestern.
They do an excellent job of coaching the fundamentals and basics at Loyola. Those linebackers are well versed, and of course, John HOLECEK was a linebacker, so he kind of knows the game. And there's a very active 6'1", 215-pound senior, David Carter. And they all run well, and that's so very crucial on a defense, and certainly against an offensive team like Bolingbrook.
3rd and long.
There's the pitch. What a great job defending that pitch there. What a great job by that defensive back. He came up, he fought off the wide receiver, and he forced him to turn the ball inside. This is just fundamentals. It's a lead option, the lead blocker, and there he tries to turn it up inside where his help is coming from, the inside, which is the linebacker. That's the way you got to play the option. Nice job by Loyola.
That's Luke Ford, number 40, just a junior. On 4th and 3, once again, Bailey to punt, or maybe not.
Into a strong wind. Now the outside contained people have to be slow. Right there, you can see the difference there than it was on that first punt.
Somehow Bailey got that one away. And the Ramblers from Loyola will have themselves good field position. Have about 4 minutes and 18 seconds to play here in the first quarter. No score. Ramblers touching the ball for the second time. Aaron Bailey avoids the block. Back in 1993, Bolingbrook finished 2nd in Class 5A, losing in that championship game in miserable weather conditions to Belvedere 7-0. And then the game immediately following that in 6A, Loyola won the state championship over Downers Grove South by the identical score, 7-0. Here's Malcolm Weaver under pressure.
A lot of pressure, forcing that right. Good job defensively. Weaver's got very active feet, but when you put pressure on him, a right-handed quarterback going to his left, and you keep the pressure on him and don't allow him to turn those shoulders upfield, that'll be the end result, throwing it short. Now, in that game that you just talked about, that state championship game, that was led by John Herster, who did a fantastic job, who passed away about 5 years ago here, and was an outstanding coach at Loyola and just a great human being. The field at Loyola is named after John Herster.
5-yard completion goes to Marquise Martin Haynes. Those appearances by Loyola and Bolingbrook in 1993, the last time each of those teams have made it to the state finals.
Empty backfield here. It's just Weaver back there putting the pressure on the defenders of Bolingbrook.
Looking for 5 yards. Weaver has room. Cut down, but not before he gets to the 36-yard line.
Now, by formation, that play, that's the result of that play. They took everybody out, including the middle linebacker was pulled out by the formation. There's nobody there but the defensive lineman. You can see how they, what we call full block. One guy blocked back, and the other guy came around him and up the field.
The give to Reed Mahalik. Mahalik will bust it for another first down. After the 14-yard run by Weaver, Mahalik follows it with a 12-yard pickup.
Right now at this point, The difference in the ball game is the line of scrimmage. The line of scrimmage right now is being won by Loyola. They're handling that defensive front.
HOLECEK again, untouched.
What we said about speed, run right at it, David. Don't run away from it, run at it. And that's just what they did.
25-yard touchdown run by Reid Mahalik, and Loyola strikes first.
That's a big touchdown for Loyola, because a lot of people coming in this game said, could they stick with Bolingbrook? Nice game here, just a nice draw coming right up. Good job of blocking at the point of attack by the offensive line. You negate speed by running at it. Loyola certainly did that right there. Nice job up front by the offensive line of Baumeister, Sandberg, Spagnola, Dixon, and Delaney.
Will Kushwa for the extra point. It is good, and it is a 7-0 Loyola Rambler lead.
That was just good, sound football right there. Throwing the ball, good balance, running draws, running traps up inside. Just a good football play here. Just turns it upfield and runs right between, because they're running a cover 2. They have no safety in the middle of the field, and he just ran right at it. All he's got to do is pop by the line of scrimmage. You see the linebacker stunning right here. Nice job of blocking there. There's nobody there but the official.
Loyola comes in averaging 33 points per game. Bolingbrook only gives up 13 per contest.
Well, that's a good psychological start for Loyola to be able to move that ball. Now, they're not going to do a lot of wild things with the football. They're going to just play good, sound, fundamental offensive football, and then just try and hold them down with their outstanding defense.
John Ivelo, Bolingbrook coach, finds himself down by the identical score that in 1993 they lost in the 5A title game. But we're early. There will be more points tonight. Kushwa.
Whoa.
And that's where Bolingbrook will start. The field has become a little bit slippery here as this rain has gone on now for probably 3.5 hours. And we're starting to see the effects. It did not rain in the 6A game, a couple of drops. It rained all the way through 7A. And it rained very steady here in 8A.
And that's part of Loyola's game plan, I am sure. It's got to be control the ball, fewer turnovers, let's keep the clock going, and let's try and pin them down and make them make long drives. Don't give them good field position.
Stovar comes through in motion. Here to the near side. Room to run, and a first down for the Bolingbrook Raiders. They will get it to Darian Brown. As we said, he averages 12.9 yards per carry. He gets 14 on that one.
Nice job. He actually beats the linemen that are pulling to the point of attack and does a nice job of cutting back. Darian Brown, now he has 335 yards in the season. He averages just under 13 yards a carry, and they don't go to him all that often, but I think right now they want to take the pressure off of Bailey.
Bailey on the pitch. He'll come to the near side, and Stover. These are backs now for Bolingbrook. We talk about Aaron Bailey, but these backs are strength. They can catch, they have moves, strong, physical, and the one thing is that John Ivelo, who switched to this offense, has modified it a little bit, switched back to this offense in recent years. This year he has the personnel to run this offense that is seen often by Navy, Georgia Tech, Georgia Southern.
It's like a double wing. They have two good running backs and an outstanding quarterback, and that's what you have to have with this particular offense.
And again, another good pickup, another first down to the 44-yard line.
What they're doing is they're making sure now that Loyola is not able to just concentrate on Bailey. That was just basically a straight dive off the outside. You can see how they pin him right there, and he just pops it outside. Just a very simple, sound football player that you learn in junior high.
Jaden Huff, the sophomore, with that carry. Bailey wanted to keep it, and you saw the strength backpedaling his way to about a 3-yard pickup.
Now that was the outside veer where it's an option, and he's just reading the outside linebacker, and he's riding that running back up inside, and if they close down on him, he's going to pull it out and get around the edge. But they did a nice job of stuffing the running back right back into the quarterback, and that's part of how you play it. You come from the outside in and you try to jam him right back into the running back so your linebackers can help out. Big splits by the offensive line by Bolingbrook.
Great tackle in the open field, at least in open space. Again, we've called his number several times, Luke Ford.
Bailey gets out on the edges and anything can happen. So you've got to keep him close to the line of scrimmage where all your help is. Here's the option right here. It's a lead option. Number 2 is the lead man. 24 is the pitch man. And just good hustle by the backside right there coming up to make the tackle. And it's just outstanding hustle on the part of Loyola.
Ford showing a good sideline to sideline speed. Bolingbrook needs 4 yards. Flag thrown on the snap.
They're not going to get the yardage, and I think the flag's going to be against them.
Huff was the man that ended up with the ball. The flag's thrown behind him. You saw just in the quick glance to your screen, it will be an illegal motion call against Bolingbrook. They've had some penalties that have hurt them. They had a first down and goal from the 7. Penalties pushed them back to the 25-yard line. Penalties and some losses on plays.
Well, there's a shot at John Ivalo. That gum was going to get a workout tonight. If you've ever seen Bolingbrook this year, and I have several times, they are a team that you are on the edge of your seat when they're on offense.
Illegal shift. 2 men in motion prior to the snap. Still 3rd down.
And I say that because any one of those people in the backfield besides Bailey and including their wide receivers, all are threats. All are threats to go all the way anytime they touch the football.
Now we'll see Bailey in a shotgun. 3rd down and 9 after the 5-yard penalty.
Low snap. He's got room. First down.
Good for a first down. He was looking for Xavier Perkins. He found them right in front of the Loyola bench.
See, he has a talent to be able to be a good passer down the road. Now, of course, he's only a junior, so we know that he's a good runner based on the statistics. But he gets down the edge here, and he just takes his time and just uses good judgment until that receiver gets open. You saw him pull it down there and didn't throw it, and then he threw it when he got open. And that's just a good job right there, how he pulled it down because he knew that linebacker was coming underneath. That's just a good job of poise of him controlling the ball and the tempo.
Good drive for Bolingbrook here as we get ready to close out this first quarter.
Ooh.
An excellent defense there by Loyola. Number 50, Darby, good one. Defensive lineman, a junior, leading the charge.
Oftentimes what happens with this is when they're running the option, if Bailey and there's only one back there, there's no option people, so they can come inside. There's no pitch man, which makes it easier for the outside people, secondary and linebackers to get to him.
Reed Mihalik's touchdown run of 25 yards, the only points on the board. It belongs to Loyola. We've finished 1 quarter of play in your 8A championship. Ramblers on top, 7-zip. We played 12 minutes here in Champaign-Urbana, the home of the Fighting Illini, University of Illinois. The Loyola cheerleaders coming down from Wilmette. That's the location of the school, but according to Coach John HOLECEK, about over 40% of their students come from the northern part of Chicago. First play here of the second quarter. Swarming defense. Short pickup on the play. David Carter, number 33, leading the charge. Here's your first quarter stats. Evenly done here tonight, at least in the first quarter.
Well, it really kind of surprises me right there, but Loyola with 110 yards, 126, that's pretty good balance for total offense when you're thinking that Bolingbrook is the one with the reputation for the big offense, and Loyola is one that has a reputation as a solid offense, but not a dynamic offense. Bolingbrook's had the ball an awful lot here.
Stover in motion. Bailey.
That's what you don't want.
Bailey with the first down to the 25-yard line.
You have to keep outside contain on him when he's in the pocket. You cannot allow him to get on the edge. And just right here, they put good pressure on him, but they take the inside route right there. They take the deke and go inside his shoulder. You got to make sure you maintain leverage on his outside shoulder so he can't get outside on it.
This will be the 10th play of this drive for Bolingbrook. Their drive started back at the 11-yard line. They've taken some time off the clock. They're your rushing leaders. Bailey with those 37 yards.
Huge splits between the center and the guards.
The short side of the field.
Ooh.
Helmet on helmet.
We could hear that. We're up on the 5th floor or whatever here. We could hear that big time.
Jaden Huff takes a pretty good hit again. David Carter.
As most coaches will tell you, you won't see a good hit, you'll hear a good hit, and we heard that one. Loyola's doing a good job of controlling them as far as the big play. And the thing is, by taking these big splits, it puts a lot of pressure on Loyola's front 4, and they make different adjustments. Good job right there.
Jaden Huff goes nowhere. Number 55 putting the stop on him. That's Cody Sullivan. It will be 3rd and long. 3rd and about 7.
They put in different formations here. HOLECEK says that depending on what formation and what's the yardage he's going to be putting in, sometimes he might have an extra linebacker in there. He might bring another safety in there because he needs the speed and pull out another lineman. All kinds of chess match things going on with both of these teams.
From the 22-yard line, Bailey throwing on the run. Has his man complete. 1st down.
Now that's one of the newest and most unique plays you'll see, not only in high school football, but it's a trickle down from college. It starts out looking like an option play, and then the receiver just does a curl, and he can actually run it as an option or throw the ball. Watch it right here. He's got a pitch man right there. He hangs on to the ball, and he just dumps it over the top to the wide receiver.
That's DJ Pruitt with the reception. 5'8" senior. 1st and goal from inside the 10. 2nd time Bolingbrook has been in this position.
More and more teams are going to that type of play because it puts an awful lot of pressure on the defense.
Bailey to keep up the middle. That's a 10-yard touchdown run.
And that's the magic that he has. He's had quite a dimension to it. Just a nice job here of running the option. He's the one that wants to keep the football. See right here, he fakes it right here. The man comes up the field. He runs in behind. It's just basically a counter because you saw that guard and tackle pull, and he ran right up in behind them. It's a bread and butter play for him, and it certainly has more butter on it when you have a back like Bailey running it.
Adam Klein adds the game-tying extra point. Long drive for Bolingbrook pays off at a 10-yard touchdown run. Aaron Bailey for his 29th touchdown of the year. We're tied at 7. 2.5 minutes into the 2nd quarter, Aaron Bailey caps that 89-yard scoring drive. It took 5 minutes and 44 seconds off the clock. His 10-yard touchdown run has taken us to a point we thought we would be, all tied up here at 7. Good one here in Class 8A.
It's very unusual to have a quarterback that has 1,800 yards rushing and only 900 yards passing, but that's what Bailey has for statistics.
The return will come to the 33. Up man for Loyola, John Gordon with the return. Check that. Make that Jake Miller.
Interesting to see how Loyola responds now to this. That was a nice long drive. Ate a lot of clock by Bolingbrook, and usually their offense is not like that. They're a big play offense. They don't usually run a lot of clock and have long drives. They just have big plays in a short period of time.
Ryan Riberty in the backfield, the 3rd running back used by Loyola tonight, but Weaver will go to the air here on 1st down, and that was a dangerous pass to throw. However, if he'd been able to thread the needle, Peter Pujols was on a great slant pattern.
Now that was a deeper slant than normal. Usually you'll have a shallower slant, and he was able to get it. The linebacker right there was in the drop area. You don't want to throw a slant anywhere near a linebacker. You want to get it one-on-one with a corner. So he threw that a little too deep, and the route was also run a little too deep.
That was Tevin Teamer on the pass defense. And now deep.
Oh, he got it.
What a great catch, backpedaling. Peter Pujols, his 2nd great reception tonight. That one for 28 yards, the ball into Bolingbrook territory.
They always talk about Loyola has a stable of receivers, and they're all very competent. And you can see right here, he looks one way and comes back to the single receiver side. Good concentration, good throw and catch.
And on 1st down, the ball will be run for about 9 yards. It'll be Riberty on the carry.
And that's a nice play on 1st down after a big play, is to be able to pick up 9 yards with your running game. This is the balance that keeps Bolingbrook speed at bay. They can't be flying all over the place because they got too many things to think about and worry about.
Malcolm Weaver, the quarterback for the Ramblers. Stay in the ground to Riberty. And that's a fumble. And Bolingbrook will have it. Turnover coming at the 8:23 mark. Stops this Loyola drive.
Well, that certainly is not something Loyola wants to do. They had a nice movement getting the ball down the field, and they get a turnover and give them the ball right back, and that's just not something you can afford to do in a big championship game like this. You can see the ride right here to the fullback, and he just never, ever has the football. It's sliding down the whole time that he initially took it. Let's take a good camera angle here. What great camera work you can see right there. Just slipped right out of his hands, goes down to the ground, and Bolingbrook's got it back.
Philip Wilson, the fumble recovery for the Raiders. Pitch.
The pass again.
Stover, this ball just hanging up there. And it's incomplete. It's lucky for Bolingbrook that it was. That ball just sat up in the air. It was intended for Xavier Perkins.
That was like a punt. That's the second time they ran that play. They ran it right in the beginning, and they run it again. Again, trying to make sure that they can keep the secondary honest. You can see that thing's up there for long. Somebody's got to call it, either the second baseman or the right fielder. But it's one of those situations where they're doing things like this to keep Loyola softer in the secondary and the linebackers so they can run the option.
Bailey in the shotgun. Same play as moments ago. Will be close to a first down.
Again, a well-run option-to-option pass look, which if he's covered, then you pitch the ball or the quarterback runs it, and they do a nice job with that. And that's a real threat on the edge. Just watch this. You see how he got a pitch man there, and the guy curls underneath, and the cornerback has to stay back to respect the receiver. And Bolingbrook has that play in the repertoire, and of course Bailey does a great job with it.
Found DJ Pruitt, not a big target, just 5 feet 8 inches tall. And it will be a first down. Last time the Raiders had the ball, they took it 89 yards in 13 plays. Bailey will throw. Waited for his man. He found him. On the move is Perkins, and he'll be inside the 30-yard line.
Well, Bailey doing a nice job of getting rid of the football, and then the big thing that you see with a quarterback and receivers is this. There'll be teams that throw the ball, but they throw them for receptions and the players go out of bounds, whether it be curl or sideline. These players, after the catch, can turn on the speed and turn them into big gainers, and that's the threat that they have. Good throw, good catch, but a better run after the reception. It's always the yardage after the catch that's so important.
30 yards for Perkins, and he was the beneficiary of some sloppy tackling by Loyola, but that puts the ball inside the 30-yard line. Bailey didn't like what he sees, and he takes a quick timeout, and what he saw was the play clock running down to just 3 seconds. So that will be the second timeout called here in the first half by the Bolingbrook Raiders as you take a look at Aaron Bailey's passing numbers. And quite frankly, Jack, I didn't think we'd see Aaron Bailey throwing for 100 yards here in the first quarter and a half.
Well, let's think about those 100 yards. There's 5 completions. None of them were longer than 20 yards. It's the runs after that when you allow your receiver that can run with the football to create something downfield.
You see also he's also rushed for 47 yards, and he has the only score of this game. Aaron Bailey, considered to be one of the top-rated players in the junior class. Tom Lemming, of course, the renowned recruiting guru, says he's one of the most outstanding athletes in the junior class in the nation. This is the type of player that colleges look for to run the spread offense. They're recruiting Aaron as an athlete. He can play a lot of different positions. The thing with Aaron, he's quite a baseball player too, big Red Sox fan. He wants to play both sports in college.
Well, have an athlete like him at the quarterback, and then also the other part of that, David, is that he's the punter. And that just adds a totally different dimension to your special teams.
Take a look at the Bolingbrook uniforms. They call themselves the Oregon of high school football, not because of the style of play, but because they all the different uniform combinations. They have 4 different colored pants and jerseys and 2 different colored helmets. So they've gone with black on black with the white hats here tonight in their 8A championship game.
First thing that I ask about that is they must have one heck of a football budget.
Omar Stovar with the carry, shakes through a tackle. He will get down to about the 16-yard line.
Puts the ball on the ground. Loyola.
And
they got it. Loyola's got the football.
an exchange of turnovers gives the Ramblers the ball.
Well, whenever you have a back that is dodging and going back and forth, sometimes he can't see tacklers coming up from behind him, and I think that's exactly what happened there. Loyola has the football. That's a big stop for them. A big stop for them. Just watch the moves here. I mean, he does a nice job of bouncing outside. And right there, down goes the football with a good tackle.
I believe that was number 97, Michael Scott.
There it is right there.
It popped it loose. There you see 97.
Oh, he lost it going down. He wasn't hit from behind, or the ball wasn't jostled out. He just lost it. And that could have been a slippery football because the football is getting wet from this rain.
Still tied at 7. Approaching 7 minutes to play in the first half. Weaver cannot find Martin Haynes.
Well, Loyola needs to make some yardage on first down. Now, they haven't done that the last few times, and that puts them in a bind when it comes to second and third down when you have to go with a 10-yard play. That first down is so crucial for them. Even if they pick up 3 yards, it changes the whole dynamics of the play calling. Spreading the field.
Oh, the hit on that side. The pass complete to Willie Polivos, but the stick goes to Parker Westfall.
Tremendous speed coming up on that ball, and you can see he just reacted to it right away. He just turns right now and throws, and he's right on him the whole time. The defenders are right up in your face. They play tight man-to-man coverage, and there's no way of getting around that.
Now third down and 12. Going against the wind. Weaver through the wind. Ball knocked away, and yet another great defensive move for Bolingbrook, the intended receiver. Martin Haynes once again, but this time it was Austin Van Meter dropping into coverage from his linebacker position. You take a look at Van Meter here. We talk about Antonio Morrison. He's headed to Florida, but he says, you know what? He says, I think Austin Van Meter is the second best linebacker in the state behind me.
Well, when you see a linebacker getting that far down the field, normally they end up dropping anywhere from 7 to 10 yards. He's down the field at 20 and 25. 216-pounder with excellent speed. He's taken over for Morrison as far as the leader of that defense, but that was a great play on his part right there.
That's what Dylan Brennan, the punter, is looking at. Bolingbrook should get pretty good field position out of this. They'll get it at the 48-yard line. So the exchange of turnovers has no impact following this 41-yard punt by Brennan. Bolingbrook will get the ball back, 6:21 left. We are tied at 7. The opening touchdown of this game came with 3:15 to play in the first quarter. Reed Mahalik scoring from 25 yards out, and then Aaron Bailey matched it with a 10-yard run of his own. The two defenses working hard, the weather coming into play, the offenses showing the potential here in this 8A championship game.
Well, there's really a lot of maneuvering by both coaches throughout this football game, and certainly for Loyola defensively.
Forcing Bailey to pitch. Still positive yardage for the Raiders. Stover, the carry, he will get about 4, maybe 5.
Now that's been the difference so far in this ball game. Bolingbrook is able to pick up some yardage on first down, and Loyola hasn't done it in the last couple drives. Now that was a well-defensed play by Loyola, but with that kind of speed, somehow or another, Bolingbrook always seems to be able to pick up 5 yards. There's so many threats out there at the skill position, so much speed. Any one of them can break it, but the other part of it is you got it when you're playing an option team. Those wide receivers got to do a nice job of blocking.
Flag down as Bailey sweeps the right side. He has enough for a first down, but this may be a hold.
He looks a lot bigger than 6'2". He's 215 pounds. He looks a little slender right there, but he runs awfully hard. See what the call is here.
Illegal shift. Offense. Too many men in motion. Down remains second.
Now that's the second time that's happened here in the first half, and we're in the 14th game of the season. How do things play out that way?
Well, oftentimes they might be going out to a position that they're not used to playing, whether that be a split under a flanker, and they're anticipating the count instead of listening to the count or looking at the ball if they're a wide receiver. They should be looking into the ball rather than listening to the count.
Motion Stover. Bailey is hammered down. He never saw Eric Hauser coming to get him. There's Hauser, 6'1", 210-pound All-Stater. Former B team player as a freshman. He was on the B team as a freshman, 35 ACT, and he gets the big sack here, a loss of 13.
And he's coming from the blind side here. You can see him going right there. He never sees him. And you've got a mismatch as far as the offensive line. You got Jaden Huff, only 5'9", trying to block him, and it's not going to happen. Hauser's 6'1", 210 pounds, and very active. And you know what his other sport is? He should be right at home right now. He's a water polo kid.
3rd and 23.
Nice fake by Bailey.
It's near midfield.
That's the other part of the option. You can have a quarterback with a lot of talent, but the ball skills involved are also very helpful. Watch the good fake right here. And of course the back has to, you can see how he takes people out of position right there with that fake, and then he gets up inside. Running a little too high. If I was coaching him, I'd say you better lower that shoulder or you're going to be in trouble or cough up the football.
Beat Carter with the tackle as Bailey drops back to punt.
Again, let's see how they contain him.
Low line drive kick, and this will hop into the end zone. It will help Bailey's average with a 51-yard boot, but Loyola will bring it back out to the 20, and that's where we will start. 3:50 to play in the first half. We're tied at 7. Well, those of you folks that have decided to stay home here on a Saturday night, watch 8A football, the IHSA TV network, that's a good choice. It's wet here in Champaign. First down from the 20-yard line. Malcolm Weaver, the quarterback. He engineered one touchdown drive. That was late in the first quarter. Bolingbrook scored early in the second. Tied at 7. And there's the quickness again from the secondary. Such great speed in the secondary again. Parker Westfall closing hard, this time on Marquise Martin Haynes.
You can see his slow back pedal. He knows the move. They're just he's coming rolling up, and the safety's going over the top. That's how they play it. They invert it. The corner looks like he's backpedaling out, but then he comes flying up, and the safety takes the deep man over the top.
This is Weaver. Not much there.
Trying to run that quarterback draw. Just didn't have enough there to pick up the first down. A good call. Just a shoestring tackle there.
Tackle by Emil Wisdom, 6-foot junior. He's taking the place at the linebacker spot of Antonio Morrison.
Well, Bolingbrook defense is doing a good job here, and that's Bob Cora is the defensive coordinator. He's been there for a long, long time. He was under the tutelage of Phil Acton when he brought the team down to the state finals years ago, and he's still there.
Nothing there for Weaver, and he's going to go down. He's dropped by Andre Allen.
You just don't want to put yourself in a position where you're going to end up giving them good field position, and that's exactly what's going to happen here. Good coverage down the field. He has to pull the ball down, and then just good attacking defense by the backside, the blind side, and come after him. Both teams are playing good defense, and they're just kind of negating what the other team does and does well, but both teams are very sound defensively.
DJ Pruitt to look to return this kick by Dylan Brennan. No pressure on Brennan.
Oh, no.
Oh, they're going to say Brennan's knee went down on that punt at the 1-yard line. That's where Bolingbrook will get it.
What a mistake there. That's just kind of a situation where it's, you know, he's trying to block it for whatever reason. It wasn't that bad a snap. It was waist high. and I think he knew that he went down right there. An excellent call by the official, but just poor judgment there by the punter. Wow.
First and goal from the 1-yard line.
Goal line defense obviously here.
And off inside. No indication. It will be second down and goal.
They're probably not going to get a lot up front with this defense against Loyola, and I think what's going to happen is they're going to run that same play, and Bailey's going to keep it going off the edge. You can see how soaking wet the jerseys are of Bolingbrook right there.
This ball is about the 2-inch line. Try it again. And
got it.
Touchdown. They went the same way. Jaden Huff.
Didn't get it by much.
And Bolingbrook takes a 13-7 lead, taking advantage of the turnover by the punter, Brennan.
You can see right there, they're double teaming down, and they just run the outside veer, and they're going over behind Robert Bain, their right tackle and right guard, 6'3", 296, who's headed to Illinois, and Scott Foles, a 230-pound junior. When they get the ball in, it doesn't make any difference how close it was. It still resulted in 6 points. Whether it be in standing up or in diving in, it's still 6.
Oh, and how about that play that gave Bolingbrook the chance? Brennan going down on that knee. Here it is. Left knee down. And that means he is down.
Just a complete mental breakdown there to do something like that down there. There's no need to block the ball. It's one thing if the ball would have been bouncing into him, but it was a low snap, but it was waist high. Usually you want those snaps right up about shoulder height so the punter can handle it, but that was just a tough play on his part.
Huff's touchdown is 16th of the year. Nobody needs to tell Peter Brennan or Dylan Brennan anytime right now about that situation. It's time for his teammates to pick him up. And there's your scoring drive. 1 yard, 2 plays, 37 seconds following getting the ball on downs. John HOLECEK will get the ball back. His team will, with about 1:40 to play.
It's been a game of field position and who can take advantage of it thus far, and so far it's been Bolingbrook.
Marquise Martin Haynes to the outside, still on his feet. And the Ramblers will have themselves good field position here. Down by 7 following the 33-yard return by Marquise Martin Haynes.
It's a good job here at getting the ball in midfield. Nice job cradling the football right here. He almost looks like that kind of cuts down on your ability to be able to run because you're not able to swing your arms at all. He was a little restricted there, but he picks up good yardage and gives Loyola good field position right here. Can they capitalize on it? And they need to do this going into halftime. See, like a defensive Bolingbrook jumping around here.
Weaver better hurry. Clock at 1. They get the snap off. They throw the out once again, incomplete to Martin Haynes.
A situation revolves around the fact that when the receivers catch the ball, after they catch it, they have to be in a position to be able to advance it. It doesn't do any good to make a spectacular catch for a 3-yard gain. That doesn't help you.
Loyola 1:37 left, all 3 timeouts remaining. Weaver looking for an alley.
Close quickly. Good call, but that defense, they close very quickly.
Loyola will get to the line quickly. Here's Weaver.
Got a little injury there and trying to make a quick substitution. Loyola trying to take advantage.
They need 3 yards for a first down. They will have it through the air.
When he's on, Malcolm Weaver can throw the ball. There's no doubt about it.
Marquise Martin Haynes, again, he's been a very active man here tonight. Martin Haynes, second leading receiver. We've not seen Charlie Dowdle, the leading receiver for Loyola.
Quarterback draw again.
And again, the defense closes it quickly. Number 79 there at the bottom is Anthony Sharp. He got a hand on Weaver, and the Ramblers will use their first timeout with 54 seconds to play here in the first half. There you take a look at Malcolm Weaver's numbers. Put it up in the air 15 times. He's rushed it for 17 yards, so he's accounted for 90 yards of offense. 90 of the 137 Loyola has here tonight.
Well, they need him to get on track, certainly in this second half, if not necessarily in this last series for them, because he is such a valuable tool on that offense. And the defense can play well and hold Bolingbrook down, but if the offense can't move the football, they're not going to win this football game. Malcolm Weaver has to have a big game in the second half. He's got to be a little more efficient and get this offense to move down the field. Good shot of the crowd. That's very wet. Right now they're loving it, though.
The Bolingbrook side, they have that 14-7 lead. It's all the students, right, that sit down in the rain. They don't care. Other folks up underneath the upper deck here on both sides of Memorial Stadium.
There's a good crowd here for both sides. Spreading the field with 3 receivers to the wide side and a single to the short.
Over the middle they go.
Great catch.
Marquise Martin Haynes down to the 16-yard line.
He threw that ball on a rope, an absolute rope. Was that an excellent catch under these conditions? Just watch how fast this ball is delivered. Just a great catch right there. And that's exactly what they needed. Even they have to come out of this with some point somewhere.
Well, you better have good hands if you're a receiver on this Loyola team, because that ball gets on you in a hurry. And we've seen great grabs by Poole Joels and now Martin Haynes. 22 yards. Excuse me,
David. And with these weather conditions being with this rain, the ball is obviously very slippery. Nice catch, nice throw.
Make that a 21-yard completion from Weaver to Martin Haynes. Plenty of time here for the Ramblers.
Could be another quarterback draw. The field is shortened, run right at speed. Bubble screen.
Martin Haynes makes a move. That will stop the clock. 29 seconds left.
Bolingbrook does a nice job of tackling in the open field, and that's so very important. You can have great speed, but if you can't tackle when you're out on an island one-on-one, it's not going to do you any good. And they do a good job of that. I'm sure John Ivelo at halftime will switch, get another piece of gum for the second half. It's been a good football game throughout the first half. I thought it'd be a little more high scoring than this, but there's been good defense played by both football teams.
Weaver looking right. He'll run left. He has an alley. Malcolm Weaver inside the 10. Not enough for a first down. Clock moving. They'll need to stop it. They will with 17 seconds to play here in the half. Weaver
right here, you can just see he sees the opening right here, and again they close on it very quickly and do a nice job of squeezing it up inside. They've got 17 seconds, probably 2 plays. The thing is, when you've got right now this kind of field position, speed is not a big factor for Bolingbrook because they've got less field to work with, so it kind of plays into Loyola's hands. They don't have to worry about trying to outrun the speed.
Well, and you have the arm of Weaver who can get the ball through a small window very quickly. The receivers have been able to hang on here tonight on a very wet evening in Champaign.
Well, the way these defensive backs of Bolingbrook react, though, you don't have a lot of room. They really close very quickly on the football. And that's a dangerous play for them. It's one thing if you're in the open field where if they close fast with a pump fake, then you're going to be wide open down the field. But right here they can close fast and there's really nowhere to go because the field is so restricted here.
3rd down and 2. 1 timeout remaining for Loyola.
Pick up a first down here, but the clock is more important than anything. Got him spread out again.
Weaver on the fade, and there's a catch. No, out of bounds. The catch was made by Dowdle. Did not get his feet in bounds. It will now be 4th down and 2. So the first time they've gone to Charlie Dowdle. He makes a great grab of the fingertips. Take a look.
Just puts it on the outside shoulder, which he needs to do, but he doesn't give him much room to operate over in the corner of the end zone. And he's just bobbling the ball. He catches the ball, but he's out of bounds when he does do that. He had about another foot inside to make that move right here. That's an excellent catch.
Did he have control? He got the foot down.
No, I don't think he had control going out. But we don't have the officials do a good job of being right there, and his call was he was out of bounds.
Now you see the official right there in that picture as the timeout is called by Bolingbrook in this instance with 13 seconds left. It's 4th down and 2 in a 14-7 game. 13 seconds left in the first half.
Now the question is, kick a field goal or you try and get 6?
That's what I'm supposed to ask you, Coach.
Well, right now, you know, you're talking about kicking it into the wind. You're talking about some elements that'll come into play, and that being the rain is coming down and it's right into the face of the kicker. And it's not a punt, but it's not a real short field goal either. So a lot has to do with the hold and the snap. With this kind of weather, you never know.
They appear to be sending out their regular offense. We start the second half. Loyola will get the ball. This will be a huge momentum shift here in the final seconds. Here are your tough conditions, and the offensive unit is coming onto the field. Does Weaver do it with his arm or his legs?
Well, he can spread the field here and take them out of it and spread out the secondary, but the thing is, those linebackers are so darn active and quick there that even a quarterback draw is not the greatest play as far as trying to get in for 6.
They need 2 yards.
What?
They go that way again.
Oh,
a flag is out, and they're going to get an interference call on Bolingbrook. They were going to Dowdle, but number 23, Darian Rhodes, was there.
Good call.
And that would be an automatic first down. We only have 9 seconds left here in the first half.
That was a good call by the offense, and it was a good call by the officials.
It's defense.
You're putting
down.
a 6'3" receiver on a 5'9" defender. So that's a good call right here. And he just lays the ball up and he beats the defender, but right there's your interference call. Some people might say it was out of bounds, but doesn't make any difference in high school football.
Looking for the tying touchdown. Weaver, quarterback draw. Weaver, touchdown.
There you go. Good job of blocking at the point of attack. That was a predetermined call. He didn't just scramble on that. He saw which way that the Bolingbrook defensive line was slanting. They blocked down and he went the other way. Just a good job by Weaver of reading this. He'll go to his left. See how they block down here, and then 52 comes up on that backer, kicks him out. Excellent play call right there. Just a full block up front. Good blocking and a good job of running by Weaver.
Big extra point attempt coming up here from Will Cushwood. Snap, placement, kick, we're tied. How about that drive by Loyola after they had the adversity of Dylan Brennan taking a knee on an attempted punt, giving a ball to Bolingbrook at the 1-yard line. They subsequently score. Loyola comes back and ties it at 14. This is how they did it.
Just a real good job here of blocking at the point of attack. An excellent play call and a better job of blocking up front by the offensive line of Baumeister, Sandberg, Spagnola, Dixon, and Delaney. They're the ones that, if he got 6 points, they deserve 3 of those points. You can't run plays like that without a good job of blocking by the offensive line. It's so crucial, especially in high school football.
How about that drive? 9 plays, 53 yards, a minute 42, and they only needed 2 of their 3 timeouts.
Well, there's a good shot of John Ivalo, knowing that he's got himself a ball game. Loyola has been well prepared for this. Good job of coaching by both staffs. 2 outstanding programs. They have an offside, I think, on that kick.
Flag is down the 40-yard line. That's where the tee is sitting, and Cush was going to
Dead ball. Offsides kicking team. 5-yard penalty, re-kick.
pick that tee up, put it back to 35-yard line.
And really, there's no excuse for that on the kickoff team because they know it's not going to be a deep kick. And that's what John is telling his kids when he puts out his arm saying, why? You don't need to be. And John is telling them to get up closer. He goes back to his dumb. He's pulling them up. He wants to get them way up. He knows that they're not going to kick it deep. And if they kick it in between and there's nobody there, it's almost has the effect of an onside kick.
Finally picked up at the 30. And there will be 1 second left.
Well, good job. Good first half of football. Good sound football being played by both of these teams. And they're both very well prepared. John Ivelo's done a great job all season long with his football team. Of course, Coach HOLECEK has done an outstanding job with Loyola, or they wouldn't be here. We're going to have one interesting second half, David.
Well, we are set up for it, aren't we? And with that knee, our first half comes to a close. 14-14, it's everything we came for.
Well, they're going to go into the blackboard now. There's going to be a lot of writing in the halftime in there. There's a good shot of John Ivelo getting into the halftime, but they're going to have to make some adjustments in regard to the running game for Loyola and actually for the running game for Bolingbrook, because they have not been able to spring Bailey for his normal yardage running off the option. Loyola's done a great job of containing him.
Both teams will head to the locker room. Your 8A championship game. 13-0 Loyola Ramblers. 12-1 Bolingbrook Raiders. First and last touchdowns of the half scored by Loyola. In the middle, it was Bolingbrook. John HOLECEK likes Peter Pujols. He likes the score. We like it too. 14-14, your 8A championship game. Halftime coming up next on the IHSA television network.
Welcome back to Memorial Stadium. Halftime here of our final Class 8A championship game. Standing by with Bolingbrook head coach John Ivelo. Coach, 2 big plays in the second quarter. You capitalize on the downed punt, but then you give up the score right at the end of the quarter. How does that swing the momentum into the second half?
It's a great game. We don't care about momentum. We don't care about swings. We don't care about anything. We play football, and that's all these guys got to do second half. That's it. Nothing special.
All right. Aaron Bailey keeps making plays for you when you need him. How do you keep him going in the second half?
Aaron Bailey, I thought our receivers did a good job catching the ball too, didn't they? Yeah, see? Okay, let's coach up a little bit here. No, they're all doing good. Everybody's doing good. The offensive line's doing good. Receivers doing good. And no, you know, it's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. We got a lot of kids making some plays that have to. They stuffed our under center. Usually we run that option. Aaron gets all of his yardage there, but we're not having it right now. We're not getting it, so we got to go to our second offense, I guess you'd say, the shotgun, and that involves a lot more people, and they're the ones that have to step up right now, and they're doing it. So we're right there.
What's going to be the difference here in the second half?
The second half is just going to be just keep doing what we're doing. We need the ball. They kept the ball about the whole quarter there, so we need to get the ball back, put together a little drive too, and a little bit of luck, you know, and good things will happen.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck in the second half. All tied up here, 14-14. Bolingbrook and Loyola. We'll be back with more halftime coverage after this on the IHSA TV network.
We are back at Memorial Stadium in Champaign. Halftime of our Class 8A state championship game. Bolingbrook and Loyola tied at 14, and we're just a couple hours away from crowning our 4th and final state champion of the day.
Hard to believe we are down to our final half of these football state championships, but let's take a look back at that first half. Up to you.
Indeed, it has been a long weekend, but yet when you close it out, Jack, with such a great game here in the first half in 8A, it seems like it flew by.
It really has flown by, and we've had great games this entire weekend. We've been blessed with outstanding high school football here.
Let's take a look at all the action in the first half. Here's how we got things started scoring-wise. It was Reed Mahalik, 25-yard touchdown run. That gave Loyola the 7-0 lead. Bolingbrook, though, would come back. We were waiting for Aaron Bailey. We found him, 10-yard line. In he goes, tied at 7. But then a flurry of turnovers, starting with this interception.
Well, this is what turned around the first half for them. They picked it off right here in the end zone. He wants to just take it to the knee, so they take it out to the 20. And now we have a fumble.
and the favor will be returned. Just moments later on the drive, Omar Stobar, he will give it up, and Loyola will recover, so no damage done on those turnovers. However, the key play of the first half, this is what Dylan Brennan did when he was in punt formation. The left knee goes down. That means he is down, and that means Bolingbrook takes over at the 1-yard line, tied at 7.
If they'd done that 1 yard further back, it would have been a safety, and Bolingbrook would have had the football. And here they take it in anyway and pick up 6.
Jaden Huff, that touchdown run. But then in the final seconds, 9 seconds ago, Malcolm Weaver scores from 4 yards out, and we sit here tied 14-14. We take a look at the first half statistics.
Well, obviously Bolingbrook has an advantage as far as the stats are concerned, but it really has been somewhat of a static game. It's not what we thought it would be. In some cases, a wide open football game on Bolingbrook's part. Loyola's done a nice job of defensing Bailey, and those things are going to all have to be made adjusted for in the second half.
See the teams coming back onto the field. They get their 3-minute warm-ups, and then we are ready. 24 minutes of football, maybe more. We're tied at 14 at the half. More at the half coming up here from Memorial Stadium. Here you see Aaron Bailey as that touchdown run. He's run the offense here in the first half. Bailey has thrown the ball 8 times, completed 5 for 109 yards. He's also rushed for 41 yards and that touchdown. He has been controlled here in the first half. Loyola's done a good job controlling number 15.
Well, there's no doubt about that, because nobody else has done that for the past 13 games. He's been a runaway stallion, if you will, but Loyola's done a nice job. And I think what's got to happen here is they've got to go to somebody else to establish Bailey back in the second half. In other words, to get a couple of the other backs to establish their game, and then they can go back to Bailey. Excuse me.
For further perspective, let's go downstairs to Aaron Bennett. He has John HOLECEK standing by.
All right, we're here with Loyola head coach John HOLECEK. Coach, you gave up the touchdown on the short field, but you came back and got that drive and scored just before half. How big was that last touchdown for you guys?
Obviously, momentum. Hopefully, we can keep it here, keep it going here, and do something here with the ball.
Before the game, you mentioned the importance of containing Aaron Bailey. How do you feel like you've done in that respect so far?
Well, you're not going to stop him. You hopefully slow him down. Hopefully get a bunch of helmets on him, and maybe he gives up the ball. But he's a terrific player, so we just have to keep going after him.
Coach, we appreciate your time. Good luck in the second half. Head coach John HOLECEK of the Loyola Ramblers. They are tied 14-14 with Bolingbrook as we get set to start the second half.
Thank you very much, Aaron. As we take a look at Bolingbrook warming up, how about the Raiders? What do they need to do here in half number 2?
Well, obviously Bailey's got to get back to his old self, but I think that they need to be able to have more pressure on the edges of Loyola, because Loyola really has taken Bailey away, and there's nothing that they can do about it at this point unless there's somebody else. Both teams have been very one-dimensional in this first half. On Loyola's side has been Malcolm Weaver. What I think they need to do is they have to go back to Pavlivos, which in that first quarter they ran him and they did a nice job of establishing the run, and then Weaver throwing the football. Then for some reason they went completely away from that. And I think that that's what they need to go back to. They have to establish the run with Pavlivos inside and then let Weaver do his thing as far as with his arm and his feet. But, why they stopped doing that, I don't know. We'll see if he comes back to that, because I think that's going to be a big factor, because right now Malcolm Weaver is handling the entire offensive load for Loyola.
You could see in several of the shots the rain, which has actually increased in its intensity here. It's not been a driving rain tonight, but it has been constant, it is steady, and now it seems to be swirling around. In fact, the wind has switched. It had been from right to left, from south to north. The wind here during halftime actually has switched, going towards the south. A very interesting weather dynamic. As I had mentioned, Jack, it looked like the rain was coming from both directions, but weather change here in Champaign. It closes out the 8 games here. What impact could this have on what each of these teams have done during the season and what you've seen in the first half?
Well, neither one of these teams are teams that throw the ball deep down the field. They have more of a controlled passing game to go along with their running game, whether it be off the play action or the sprint out, the floods, that type of thing. Once in a while they'll go deep just to keep the secondaries honest, but for the most part I don't think the wind will have that much of a factor.
We'll see if the wind will allow that ball to stay on the tee. Frankie Luna has that ball teed up.
Actually, where the wind will be a factor is in the special teams as far as punting the football. It'll be more of a factor there than it will be in any other part of the game.
Loyola, which scored with 6 seconds left in the first half, will get the ball first.
And good field position.
They will start near their own 40-yard line. Well, you talk about momentum. Sometimes that get lost in the 18 minutes of halftime, but you have to realize how down the Ramblers had to feel following that knee on the punt. They subsequently score and have a whole different perspective here as we start the second half.
Well, we saw how fast the momentum swung back and forth with that halftime that we just showed as far as the different turnovers at crucial times in the game. So that kept the momentum swing going back and forth. Nobody really ever had momentum.
Olivos in the backfield. He gets the carry and he gets slammed backwards.
Now, that's not what I talked about, wanting to have him more involved, but I do think that that's exactly what they'd have to do. They have to run the ball and then get Weaver out on the edges.
So number 22, Philip Wilson. Number 50, Austin Van Meter. Olivos will get credit for about a yard on this one. That hole got closed quickly.
It certainly did. There was a hole there initially, but the tackle couldn't get down on that linebacker to close it off.
Weaver downfield. Ooh, nearly a one-handed grab. That would have been a tough one. Peter Pujols has made a couple of excellent grabs here tonight already.
Tell you what, that defender was right on his hip like Velcro. Watch this. Actually great, except that the inside position is not good. He's on his shoulder. If that ball's thrown a little lower, it's a reception. He should be on the inside hip rather than the outside hip here. Because that ball, if it's at waist high, it's a catch and big yardage.
Parker Westfall on the coverage. It's third down and long. Oh, how about that?
That was just a play that got all goofed up, and because of that, it resulted in a big loss for Loyola, 15-yard loss.
Andre Allen around the edge.
He didn't make the block. In fact, he blocked him right into Malcolm Weaver. 15-yard loss. That's not what you need to start out the second half. Now you're going to have to punt into that swirling wind.
Dylan Brennan will get another shot at it here.
Again, the snap is going to be crucial here. They have them spread out in that punt formation. They want to get down the field and make good coverage. Excellent snap.
And a good catch.
Wow,
oh, man.
Great punt. Whoa.
Oh, how about this?
Whoa,
he touched it.
Oh.
And he will fall on it. DJ Pruitt at the 9-yard line. That is a 67-yard kick for Dylan Brennan.
Wow, would that have been a turnover right there? I don't think he made a real good decision trying to handle that football. Right here, look where it's at. Just let it go, get out of the way. And he touches it, and he knows he does, and Loyola's going after it. Very, very fortunate right there. Not a real good play.
DJ Pruitt covers it up, and Bolingbrook to start at their own 9-yard line. 67-yard punt. Bailey drops the snap.
Drops the snap and picks up 2. Now it's interesting that their fullback, Jaden Huff, is only a sophomore. Now, he played last year as a freshman, number 2. And he is very quick inside. He's also a very good blocker.
5'9", 190-pounder.
A lot of skill kids on that Bolingbrook offense, and Loyola has an awful lot to contend with defensively.
There's Jaden Huff. He sits alongside Bailey. Bailey has it to the corner. Bailey through a tackle. Bailey will run himself out of bounds at the 26-yard line.
Now that is his normal mode of operation right there. He gets outside with a good fake. Right there's a good fake. You can see 97 slid in. He gives a little deke inside, and then he makes you miss, and you're not going to make arm tackles with him. He's a strong kid, even though he's only 215 pounds. He does a good job of running, and that's what he's been doing all year long for them.
And most recently in the 4 weeks of the playoffs, he's rushed for over 200 yards, 3 of the 4 games, a high of 304.
And that's what he does. He runs the option either inside or outside, and he's got the speed to turn it into a big play. There he goes again.
Gain of a couple for Aaron Bailey, the son of a former NFL player by the same name, Aaron Bailey.
See, there's no pitch man for him on that particular play. He just fakes to the fullback, and he's running with the football. There's nobody to pitch it to. Now, that makes it a little easier for Loyola's defense because they don't have to worry about a pitch man. They can close down on him from the outside in. But he's so dynamic making that move inside that sometimes he bursts right by the linebackers before they can make a play.
A good look at number 55 for Loyola, Cody Sullivan, defending a 2nd down and 8.
There's your option right there.
Good job by the Ramblers.
They did.
For Lars Lepetka on the stop.
They just slow read that. They just took their time. They didn't burst up on him. They want to make him to make a decision. And oftentimes a defense will come and make a fast read on it where they come up and fly up into the pitch man and the quarterback. In that case there, they did what we call a slow read. They just kind of played static football on the edges until he determined what he was going to do. Then they closed on it. So they're giving him a lot of different looks from Loyola's defensive standpoint.
3rd and 5 now for the Raiders from Bolingbrook. And that little bobble may have cost Aaron Bailey a chance. They'll have to punt. Well, I think we can really see now that ball gets wetter quicker as much as they try to keep it dry with the rain coming down a little bit harder. The field has definitely become slicker. It'll be a major factor in a 14-14 game. Here's what Bailey had to handle.
You can see it's a lower snap, and when you're snapping it to a 6'2" quarterback, it's got to be up a lot higher. You don't want him bending down there to pick it up low. Here's the threat again. Well, I'll tell you what, running to his left for a right-footed kicker, I don't get that at all.
Well, for Loyola fans, they like what they're going to get. They're going to get great field position after just a 13-yard punt, tied at 14. We'll be back after this. Loyola will get to start at the Bolingbrook 46-yard line for their 2nd possession here in the 2nd half.
Going on double stacks on the outside here, putting a little more pressure on that secondary. Get them to respect it a little more.
Weaver airmails that one. Let's take a look back at this punt here by Aaron Bailey that gave Loyola such great field position.
Well, first of all, to have one of these punts when you're on the run, but for a right-footed kicker to be going to his left, it looked like initially he wanted to throw it the way he was ripping that up, and it turned out to be very fortunate it wasn't blocked.
Only 13 yards on that kick.
I didn't understand that at all.
On the ground. Hard running. I believe that was Reed Mahalik in there. The ball came loose. Mahalik actually squirted out of that pile, but the whistle had blown. There's number 37, Reed Mahalik. He has a touchdown run tonight of 25 yards.
That's what they need to do. They need to run the football. It's part of what they need for this 2nd half is they got to take it out of Weaver's hands and put another dimension in there, and that's what they're doing. It's going to help them.
And running, looking for the 1st down. I believe that Mahalik will get it by half a yard.
Yeah, they got to put a little more faith in that offensive line that they can handle that defensive front of Bolingbrook. There needs to be a little momentum swing here, and it seems as if Loyola is getting it very gradually.
Getting it thanks to the field position, and Weaver can't handle that one. So each quarterback here in the opening 6 minutes of this half has dropped a snap.
Plays like that, it's a good snap. He's just taking his eye off the football. No doubt about it. He had his head up and his hands down. And that will result in a fumble every time. Giving him a lot of different looks. Bob Cora, defensive coordinator from Bolingbrook, is making Malcolm Weaver do a lot of thinking about what he's looking at defensively. He's open, wide open.
Rifle shot, sails up and away. And here comes a flag coming out. Richie Weeman was the intended receiver.
That was an interesting call. He definitely had him down the seam, and the ball was just kind of rocketed it. There was not a lot of touch on that football, but he's going to get a flag. He had the inside position right there. Oftentimes when you have a lot of speed.
Personal foul. Defense hit after the play.
When there's a lot of speed
yards.
defensively, they take a lot for granted. And this is exactly what happened here. They think they can recover. And he just does not have good position right here. The receiver is inside. Excellent position.
May have gotten Parker Westfall for a late hit here.
Well, you
That's
know
the
what? The
penalty
call's been made, so that's the way it is.
They'll take it up to the 24-yard line.
Got to take advantage of this.
HOLECEK tries to get the outside. He's never going to get there.
There's that speed we talked about.
Tevin Teamer.
You can't outrun it. You got to run at it. The further you get outside like that, they're going to run you down. Here it is right here. You can see he's got good position, but there's the corner coming up, making a nice open field tackle. You can have good speed, but if you can't tackle in the open field, it doesn't make any difference, and he does.
Teamer 6'3", 195 with speed. He's a senior.
They'll make a lot of defensive plays for Bolingbrook.
Marquise Haynes. Martin Haynes can't handle it.
Again, that's when we talked about the touch on the football. There he drills the ball, and you got to have a little touch on it. You don't want to have a great catch. It's going to end up in a 1-yard gain.
Marquise Martin Haynes really took a pop here, coming right at you.
You can see he just really drills it, and you just need to lay it out there where he's able to handle it, because this is a timing route for the receivers, and he really gets popped right here.
Darian Rhodes did the damage on Martin Hayes.
He just comes right up here. Good reaction, trying to block downfield, but that's an uncovered corner right there. Comes up and makes the pop. Those corners never move down the field. They give you the look in the secondary as if they do, but they don't.
Martin Hayes still down in the field. We'll step aside. 5:25 to play in a tie ball game near 8A championship. Malcolm Weaver saw his favorite receiver tonight, Marquise Martin Haynes, walk off the field under his own power, but he is faced with a 3rd down and 12 here past the midway point of the 3rd quarter.
A lot of movement by the secondary of Bolingbrook. They play a lot of quarter coverage, and then they play lock-on man. They just do a lot of different things defensively.
That one misfires badly.
Now there the defender had good position. He hit him on the inside. He was on the inside, kind of hipping the receiver to the outside. That's exactly what you want to do. You don't want to give him inside position.
Now John HOLECEK with a decision here. Line of scrimmage, it's a 26-yard line. A long field goal, too short to punt. Need 12 yards for a 1st down here on 4th down.
Well, this is another big play. We've had a few of them in this ball game. Changing up the call.
Pressure. And Bolingbrook will get the ball on downs. Tevin Teamer, along with Andre Allen, were closing hard on the backside of Weaver.
Well, we talked about in the open as far as Malcolm Weaver having to be on target tonight, and he's really been kind of off, trying to dump it back up inside, and an ill-advised throw to the middle of the field. With getting that kind of pressure, that could have resulted in a pick right there. But as it is, Bolingbrook's got decent field position from stifling that particular drive from Loyola. Somebody's got to take advantage of the field position in the various turnovers. Somebody's got to get the momentum here. So far, it's just been back and forth, and nobody's picked it up yet.
Bailey will keep it, and I have a feeling we will see more of that here as this half wears on.
You're going to see more of it because Bolingbrook has taken these big splits. Joe Murnick, the offensive line coach, does a great job. He's been there forever, since the school opened, actually. He and Bob Cora, the defensive coordinator, were with Phil Acton when he first started the program. They do a great job, and you see the splits by Bolingbrook, real big splits, and they're just forcing the defensive front and the linebackers to be a little more accurate. I mean, there's a huge split between the centers and guard right there.
close to a first down, about 2 yards short.
Some of the things they do force the defense to make adjustments that they don't want to make. And by taking those big splits, sometimes you're between a rock and a hard place as far as where you're going to go in those gaps to handle the option, because taking a larger split, they can block down on the linebackers and seal them off from getting to the quarterback when he runs the option.
Jaden Huff gets credit to the 35-yard line, so the Raiders only need a yard here on 3rd down.
And he's under center. Again, big splits. Quarterback sneak, I would think. I was wrong.
First down. Stretching ahead is Omar Stover. The junior will take it up across the 40.
Well, nothing fancy here, just a little crossbuck action. Good penetration by the defensive line, but those splits are really what helped that right side of the line. It was good penetration from Loyola's defensive linemen, but on that counter, they ran it to the backside and picked up an easy couple of yards there for the first down.
Call in the first half. Bolingbrook went on a 13-play, 89-yard drive to a score. Bailey, was that a pass or did he lose it? They may call that incomplete pass.
I think he caught it, though. I think he caught it, Dave. I'm not sure if he threw it or if he fumbled it forward, but the ball was in the air.
Well, Lars Lopatka, number 44, has it.
Let's see how this looks here. This is an interesting one because it was very, very quick to see. Right here's the ride. He pulls it out. Oh, he was going to throw it, and that to the option coming to the left, it just slipped out of his hand. Here's where we talked about the conditions right there. He's got the gloves on. It just, no, it does. Yeah, they're calling it a fumble.
Yep.
They are calling it a fumble. And he really never had his arm cocked or had it going forward as if it were going to be a pass. Could be later on as we look back on this a controversial call, but a tough call to make.
It is. Well, looking at the replay, it looks like the good call once again.
And the other thing I noticed is he didn't have this in the first half, but he's now wearing gloves. And that could be a factor there on that play.
Well, he's dropped the snap and he's fumbled, and Loyola has the ball. They will run it to Polivos. Polivos makes a great cut. Polivos inside the 15.
That's the man we talked about. He's got to be a factor in the second half for Loyola to be in this ball game, and he is on that particular play. Nice job right there. Just a little sprint draw. You saw the tackle getting out in front of him. Number 74, good cutback right here, but you got to watch cutting around too much. You got to get up the field. That was Sean Sandberg, number 74, that made a nice play on that lead.
Polivos, a 25-yard run. This time no gain, maybe a loss of a yard.
They've been down here a couple times. They've got to get some points on the board when they're down here. Got to put something on the board.
On the ground, Polivos. And the Loyola offense going backwards.
Trying to run that same play at him, that little sprint draw look, and they'd have no part of it. You can see right here, he just takes a stagger step. It's going to be the same play that he got that yardage on, and they just closed down real quickly and made a good play.
Number 8 was Anthony Harris, 6'1", 230-pound senior.
See right there, coach is a little concerned about maybe the play calling down here. Can't get real fancy down here with this kind of weather. Now you see the secondary making adjustments, bouncing around.
Weaver, a pump, a throw to the end zone. Great defensive coverage by Parker Westfall. He has been a dynamite performer in the secondary tonight for Bolingbrook.
Some of those passes should be the comeback where he runs deep and then just pulls up and comes back. Good pressure off the edges. He gets the ball up, but he is right there. The ball's going to be over his head. It's not going to be short.
We're looking for Peter Pujols. And now a field goal attempt coming up for Loyola for the lead.
I don't know that even if he caught that, if he would have been in bounds, Dave.
33-yard field goal attempt. Kushwa this season, 5 of 8 is long, is 38 yards.
And he's into a swirling wind here. Got a timeout on Loyola's part, I think.
delay of game. Oh, that will back it up.
That was not good. Well, now here you got to risk the fact that if it could be blocked, because now we're still tied. The quarterbacks are fumbling the football. Just think about the center making the snap and the holder having to put the ball down.
Pujols the holder. Kushwa from 40 yards out. It would be his long of the year. He gets it up, and it goes through. He crosses it over the crossbar and upright, and Loyola has taken a 17-14 lead on an 8A record 40-yard field goal by Will Kushwa.
Who would have ever thought after that penalty that he'd be able to kick that ball through with such dynamics on it and against the swirling wind? There's never a doubt. Part of this, give credit to the center and the holder. And he gets his foot into it, and it would have cleared by the 5 yards. See, good look at John right there. John Ivelo, the coach at Bolingbrook, saying that they got away with one there, but they took advantage of it, and that's what they needed to do.
First lead for Loyola since they scored the first touchdown of this game. 3 minutes and 15 seconds to play in the first quarter. So Kushwa's longest field goal of the year becomes an 8A title game record of 40 yards.
This has just been a weekend of all kinds of records and titles for different people and all kinds of records everywhere. This score is not going to stand up. I can guarantee you that. There's just too much firepower down in that field. The key will be for Loyola to be able to continue to stifle Bailey and force him to do things he does not want to do, and that's pitch the ball and throw the football.
It had some giddy up once it hit the ground. Bolingbrook to start from their 20. So the fumble by Bailey, recovered by Lepatka, leads to the field goal and the 17-14 lead, and we very rapidly come close to the end of the third quarter.
Second half has been kind of a slower paced second half because there's been a lot of key plays and a lot of changes of momentum back and forth, and nobody really seems to want to hang on to it.
Now Bailey up underneath center. He will keep. Bailey springs free. Bailey to the 40. Bailey across midfield. Tracked down, getting a great angle on him was Luke Ford to prevent the score after Bailey runs for 32 yards.
And he ran back away from the weak side. They had 3 receivers up. He came back down here to the shallow side. You can see right here he gets underneath, and he's supposed to be turned in. The linebackers are supposed to make that play. That's where they want him to go. They want him to get outside. They want to turn him up inside, but he got past those linebackers. He's got special ability. He's got a lot of talent.
And he is just a junior.
Again, they're spreading him out up here, the wide side of the field. Huge splits.
Loyola is there this time for 55. Cody Sullivan in the mix again. 42 is Jack Russian.
We haven't seen this all weekend and probably most of the year where the offensive line takes such big splits away from the football wherever the ball is being snapped. Take a look at how far the guards are away from the center and the tackles. Just really big splits.
Bailey will find his man at the 35-yard line. Xavier Perkins with the reception, good for 13 yards.
You can almost tell when they're going to be a run player, but you can see how wide those splits are. But again, those splits were not even as wide as they do on a run play. So what I'm saying is now some of the reaction could be by the defenders of Loyola to say when they take the real wide splits, it's going to be a run. When they narrow them up a little bit, it's going to be more of a pass. But he's a threat anytime he has that ball in his hand. That's what they need right there.
He kept it in his hand. Jack Russian there.
You see the gloves he's got on. He didn't have those on in the first half. Good job of penetration right here. See the big splits there on both sides of the football. He's going to run it. And they block down to take the angles, and that's what happens occasionally. You'll get that penetration in the gap, and Loyola's taking advantage of that.
Russian got help from Darby Goodwin and Eric Hauser. Your total yards tonight, Bolingbrook winning that battle.
If you look at those stats, you'd say, got to be Bolingbrook's up on top by now with those stats, but that's not the case. It's who's taking advantage of certain things. You can put a lot of stats on the board, but if you're not taking advantage of field position, it doesn't make any difference.
Clock has gone to 0-0-0. We've played 3 quarters in your 8A championship game. A field goal of 40 yards by Will Kushwa sends us to the 4th quarter with a 3-point Loyola lead. Happy bunch of Loyola Ramblers cheerleaders. They are wet, but they're enjoying the 3-point lead. Their first appearance in the state championship game in 18 years. Same is true with Bolingbrook. Last time they were here, both teams, 1993. Bailey up the middle, driving forward. It will be 3rd and long.
That's what they want to do right there. They want Bailey to run the football, and Loyola wants to stifle him inside and keep him inside. They don't want him to get off the outside shoulder of the tackle. That's where he's the most dangerous, because then he could pop it outside. If they can keep him inside the tackles, running that option, they have more of an opportunity to stop him because of the linebackers.
3rd down and 8. From the 33 of Loyola. Bailey on the option, he will throw it, and he will hand himself a 1st down. Xavier Perkins again on the receiving end of that Aaron Bailey pass. That one good for 10 yards.
Well, that pass he got off, and again, that's the combination option. The option look on the perimeter along with the throw. He gets out on the edge, which puts all kinds of pressure. You can see they have to come up and respect the pitch man. He gets just right in beside the corner, and the linebacker just sits down in that hole right there, and that's where the ball's dumped. It's not a long pass, 7 yards, and that's all you need to do to pick up a 1st down.
Ooh, that ball's loose again.
Loyola's got it. Wow. That's, I'll tell you what, if I was John Ivalo, I'd say, take the gloves off.
Jack Russian with the fumble recovery. So back-to-back possessions by Bolingbrook resulting in fumbles.
Right here, he just actually, the ball, it's not so much the gloves. He's trying to ride the fullback, and the ball bounces off his hip. Comes right off the hip of the fullback. And Loyola is Johnny on the spot. A big turnover. Big turnover.
Their offense is ready to roll. Last time they jumped on the turnover, they got a field goal from Will Kushwa for this 17-14 lead.
Jumping the secondary around, but they've got to run the football in here. They've got to establish the run.
Weaver 2-run. Loses yardage on that play.
Too long in developing. He's just taking too much time, and they can react and come up, and that's just, you can't do this when you're playing against a secondary that has this kind of team speed. And this is not a situation that's easy for Loyola, because they're not the type of team that can come back from these long setbacks as far as being 2nd and 13 or 14. They need to get something on 1st down.
Weaver overthrows receiver by about 5 yards. Looking for Pujols. There's the number 21. He'll be seen in a lot of these Loyola receivers' dreams tonight. Parker Westfall.
He's an outstanding defensive back with great speed. He's got real good position there. And football is just, Weaver's just not on tonight. He's just not throwing the ball as well as he had throughout the year. He's thrown for 2,200 yards and 26 touchdowns, so he's been a little off tonight. Draw a screen
to Pujols. One hit to slow him up, and that helped 3 other people to close quickly. Well, for Weaver, you know, when we look back at this fall, there's been some really good weather. It's been dry weather at the Friday and Saturdays. I don't know that Malcolm Weaver has had to play in any type of wet conditions, nor has Bailey.
Well, he also hasn't played against this type of defense with this kind of speed. He's played against some tough teams that are physical, but they're not as fast. Bolingbrook combines those two aspects. They're physical and they're fast.
Dylan Brennan the last time out. 7A or make that an 8A record. 66-yard punt. A little trickery there as Brennan will get it away.
What that accomplished is beyond me.
DJ Pruitt doesn't like it left. Tries the right. Ends up about where he started. We have 9:10 to play in this ball game. Loyola's field goal standing up right now for a 3-point lead to decide the 8A champion. Bolingbrook fans sending a message. Not that cold, not that wet. See whether their offense can send a message to Loyola. Bailey can't get back to the line of scrimmage.
A lot of burgundy helmets on that one, about 7 or 8 tacklers. They're going to the football.
Last one up
got
was
locked in.
Luke Ford. Got those cages locked together. They're better friends than we thought.
Loyola is really going to the football. They are saying with a vengeance that Bailey is not going to beat us. You're going to have to find another way of doing it. You can see right here, he's got a little counter look, but the speed right there and people getting to the football, and that's what's so very important. You cannot allow him to get those shoulders upfield. Notice how they're turned to the sidelines. Those shoulders get turned upfield, and he's long gone for a big gainer. There's that dump pass look again. That's not a first down.
Come up short. Perkins on the receiving end of that pass.
But I think they'll go for it. 4th down and 1.
It's 3rd down.
Missed that turn.
They flipped that yard marker pretty quick, didn't they?
They sure do.
So 3rd and a yard here. The ball in Loyola territory. Loyola Ramblers, the last 2 years, denied in the semifinals, defeated both times by Maine South. That matchup did not materialize. This year they knocked off Glenbard North to get here, and they lead it 17-14. There's your 3rd down conversions. Bolingbrook has converted half of theirs. Jaden Hubb.
Oh, big stop.
He's not going to get there.
Big stop. But they'll still go for it. They'll still go for it. That is a big stop there.
Hubb, the fullback, coming in averaging 4.8 yards per carry, and a rough go of it tonight.
See, they're riding. Look at how static they're playing them. They're just playing right along the line of scrimmage, and they're saying, okay, you tell us what you're going to do. We're not going to attack you. We're going to play static and wait until you make a decision. Then we're going to close on the football.
Michael Scott had that door shut. 4th and less than a yard. They have to get across the 45-yard line. And flags are out. Bolingbrook thinks Loyola jumped in the neutral zone.
Boy, that's just a...
Prior to the snap, encroachment, defense.
That just
First down.
is really a tough penalty right there. There's a defensive coach and a defensive player that first thing he'll tell you is make him make the play. Don't give it to him.
Get a look at John Ivelo.
I like his haircut. I like his haircut.
Had a short stint with the Chicago Bears out of Colorado State University. Of course, John HOLECEK, several-year career at the Buffalo Bills.
Ooh. David, from up here, he is a step away.
Yes.
A step away every time he turns that ball up the field. And Loyola's just doing enough to trip him up.
He gets 5 yards on 1st down. We approach the 6-minute mark in this 4th quarter.
And part of the thing is here for Loyola, if Bolingbrook were to score, the dynamics are not in the favor of Loyola than to march down the field and score, because obviously Bolingbrook, even though they haven't shown it tonight, they have the potential of being so much more explosive than Loyola is. Loyola is not a dynamic offensive team.
Bailey riding his blockers. Look at that Loyola speed on defense. We mentioned earlier, they don't necessarily read keys. They just go hard to the ball. Bailey has experienced that all night long. Number 50, Darby Goodwin, part of that.
Watch how they just stand there. See how they're standing and waiting for him to make a decision. And that's exactly what they did. Michael Scott, number 97 there, he didn't attack. He just stood there and waited. And that then slows him down from making his read. And that allows the linebackers to get there. So Russian, Scott, Goodwin, and Hauser have done a great job up front. And there's Michael Scott, 245 pounds, very active.
3rd down and 3. Bailey pushing, driving.
There it goes.
Aaron Bailey, first throw, and Bolingbrook has taken the lead.
It looks like about a 2-yard gain, and it turns into a 32-yard touchdown run. He's done it all year long. You just cannot hold him for that much in a ball game. Sooner or later, he's going to break one. Look at the ride right here. It's just a follow. It's not even the fake. But look at the determination by him. You just can't make arm tackles. You got to get a shoulder pad on him. Just an outstanding job by Bailey there and his offensive line.
Count the extra point. Make it a 4-point Bolingbrook lead. Aaron Bailey doing it with his legs when it matters most. 5 minutes left. Bolingbrook by 4. 2011 IHSA Football Championships are brought to you by Country Financial. What's your idea of financial security? Take a look at Aaron Bailey here giving Bolingbrook the lead.
The big splits, he rides in and just the fullback does a nice job. They're trying to arm tackle him, can't be done. He keeps those legs churning, up the field he goes. That's been a time bomb more or less the whole night, waiting for that to happen because it's happened all year long. Up to this point, Loyola stifled it, but then sooner or later you knew it was going to happen, and there it is. Now, the key here for Loyola is field position on this kickoff because they're not the type of team that can go 80 yards in 5 minutes. They need to get good field position on this kick.
Wind at the back of Bolingbrook here. Ball comes up pretty nicely, but the man put his knee down. That's kind of a recurring theme here tonight for Loyola. That probably cost the Ramblers about 10 yards. But ball first, right?
Well, that's the main thing. You got to have possession of the football, but those are situations where you got to let them get through. There's your scoring drive right there. It doesn't take long. And now, actually, Loyola has more time than that right now to score. They have 5 minutes. 5 minutes to be a state champion for somebody. Making adjustments on the calls in the line of scrimmage.
Weaver quickly gets rid of it. He had to get rid of it quickly. Once again, he's been in his face all night. Andre Allen.
And the combination, it's the cornerbacks that are playing those wide receivers so tight and tough that even if he gets the ball over there, he's lucky if they don't get picked. They're just playing right up in the face. They back off and then they come up. They're jumping back and forth.
Coming this way. And the Raiders defense, the speed, takes care of business.
They're not fooled. It just took, it was too quick on that reverse. The quicker a reverse is, the easier it is for the defense. You can see right here, it's just the pitch right now. It just happened so fast. There wasn't time for them to flow to the initial movement. It has to be, they have to be further out in the perimeter to make that even work, and that wasn't even close to being a good play there.
Anthony Harris tracked down Marquise Martin Hayes. 3rd down and 12.
Again, no touch.
And it will be 4th and 12.
It's tough to drill a ball over the middle of the field. It's only going 7 yards, and you're just throwing a rocket up in there.
And with 4:14 left, the punting team will come on.
Well, here's where the defense has got to force a turnover. Well, first of all, he's going to have to make a good kick into this wind. And we haven't had any great kicks so far, but the receiver is back pretty deep.
Well, Brennan had that 66-yarder with the wind when the wind was
right.
He was going the other direction. The timeout is called.
With the wind and AstroTurf.
True. And going against a pretty strong breeze right now. Timeout called. Taken by the Bolingbrook Raiders. John Ivelo wants to talk about special teams right here. The situation, 4th and 12. Go back in all the films maybe you've gotten from Loyola. Have they ever showed anything in a punt, any type of fake, any type of trick play? We saw the last punt formation. The Ramblers had some people moving all around. Don't know that Loyola would do that right now at this stage on this part of the field.
Well, I don't think they would either, but I do know that they probably do have some trick plays. But I don't know that this would be the place to do it.
Dylan Brennan is the punter.
You might do it if you were at midfield, but I don't think you'd do it down here with this much time left. Oh.
Brennan, the end over end soccer or rugby style kick. And that only gets to the 45-yard line. They want to get it up into the wind. He'll roll it along the ground for 30 yards.
So we talked about here with this very explosive defense, and what we mean by that is they just explode to the football. They are so quick and they get there with a nasty attitude. Loyola hasn't been able to do very much tonight, and really Loyola's the one that came into the game with the reputation of an outstanding defense. And don't get me wrong when I say the reputation. They do have and have had an outstanding defense all year long. They've only given up on average in those first 13 games 8.2 points a game on average, and that's outstanding for the schedule that they've played.
Saw that number defensively for Bolingbrook, and what it was an offensive weekend with offensive records. They'll take another timeout, the Raiders will. Bolingbrook's defense allowing only 184 yards to this point, on pace to set a Class 8A record. So when you come down to Champaign, you have 8 different games. You see all different styles of play. The offensive numbers that were set earlier on, this is just today. Of course, this seems like a long time ago for some folks. How about Ty Isaac in a losing cause? 515 yards and 6 touchdowns. 2 teams combined for 1,600 yards. Montini, the victor, they get the big passing game from John Rhodey, and of course, the receiving game from Jordan Westerkamp.
Amazing. Going to have to rewrite all of those records.
But you know what? I have
whole weekend.
I have a feeling that a lot of those numbers are going to be staying in that book for a while.
I think so too. You're not going to see games or records like that happen that often.
Here tonight, Bolingbrook defensively, they've allowed 17 points. With yardage 184, and they have the ball now at their own 45-yard line with 4:07 to play.
Well, Loyola, this is the time they're going to have to make a stop and a turnover, either or right here if they want to get back in this ball game with about 4 minutes left here. They're coming after him. There's got to be a hold, no?
Bailey flings it downfield.
Tell you what, that shocks me. It really shocks me that they're throwing the football at this stage of the game with those kind of athletes in the backfield. That's amazing.
And it's second down, and it stops the clock with exactly 4 minutes left.
There's 2 different styles of coaching going on. You can see John HOLECEK here. He's the defensive coordinator. He's very actively involved. And you look on the other side of the field, John Ivelo delegates. He's just kind of the CEO there. That's the offensive coordinator next to him. Bob Core is the defensive coordinator, and John just kind of checks on them every now and then to see what they're doing. And right now they're doing the right thing.
Bailey throws again.
Oh, you're kidding.
And it's picked off. Intercepted.
I don't
by
understand
Luke Ford.
it. I really don't understand it.
Running to his left. Throwing back across the middle. Here's a look at it.
We just got through saying Loyola needs a stop and a turnover. And there it is. There's the turnover and there's the stop. And they got great position at 50-yard line with 3:55 left, and that's the amount of field that they could about cover in their particular offense. Right now, Malcolm Weaver, there's your turnover right there. You can see an evolved emotional coach right there. Malcolm Weaver right now has to put it all on the line. He has not, up to this point, had a great game the way he has all through the first 13 games of the year.
And he takes too much time.
Already, you're kidding. Oh, we got a timeout?
I don't know that he got it.
Yes, he did get it.
Well, either way, it is a timeout, Loyola. That's a costly one.
Well, it is, and there's a couple parts to that. First of all, they're not huddling, so there should be no excuse to have that much more time. When they're coming off of here, the play should be called as they're going out into the field. It's not called out on the field, and then he's up there. He's taking way too much time. When he gets out there, he has about 20 seconds. He's taking too much time calling the audibles. All Bolingbrook is doing is they're just sliding back and forth, and they come back to their original position as far as the defensive front. Same with the secondary. They drop off, they come back, they always end up in the original position. Weaver's got to make some decisions here. They cannot afford to have this happen again. I mean, they were lucked out here on getting that timeout.
There is Malcolm Weaver, 6 foot, 175-pound senior.
They almost had a mix-up here. They almost had an uncovered receiver. They're going to run him up the slot. Nobody in the slot.
Levos to speed.
Oh, he's taking too much time. He's allowing Bolingbrook to recover.
Weaver will try to create with his legs, and he's driven out of bounds.
The perfect opportunity there when he had that man in motion. They were not adjusting to the formations, and Weaver just took too much time to allow them to do that.
Tevin Teamer closes hard. A loss of 2. Stop the clock. 3:50 left.
They're playing man on one side, and they're playing quarters on the other side. Now they drop off.
Weaver looking for Weeman, broken up.
Just make the play like you've made it all your life. You don't need all the antics. This is a coaching thing that always kind of bugs me.
Emil Wisdom dropping back into coverage.
That's just a pass that was overthrown. It was not really a great defensive play by any stretch, but that kind of stuff right there, you don't need that in the high school programs. Let them do it on Saturday and on Sundays.
3rd down and 12. Does Loyola take advantage of the interception?
Got 2 downs to pick up 12. Nope.
And that one's going to be picked off. Interception. Darian Rhodes will get the pick for Bolingbrook with 3:39 to play.
And how appropriate that it turns out to be him. He's had a great defensive day all afternoon, all evening here as far as working in the secondary, coming up and making tackles and doing a great job in pass coverage. Again, not a lot of touch on the football. Good penetration by the defensive front. He's kind of on his heels, but a great job getting inside position there on the receiver, and that's the way you play defense. And that's just an outstanding job by Darian Rhodes, 5'9", 170-pound senior.
Bailey hangs on to it. So the exchange of interceptions here actually gets Bolingbrook about 1.5 minutes off of this clock.
Well, it's going to be difficult for Loyola to get a turnover here if Bolingbrook doesn't throw the ball like they did in that last series, which played right into Loyola's hands.
Every snap here in the second half, Aaron Bailey, and not only has he gone to the sideline to get his play call, he's also gotten his hands dried off. And I would suspect nobody will touch this ball but Bailey.
Well, again, they're taking those big splits, but I'd keep the ball in Bailey's hands the entire time, and they are.
Oh, that's a great tackle right there.
Oh, and they're going to give him a flag on it. I don't know if that was a horse collar or a face mask.
Eric Hauser grabbed a hold of the jersey, as so it appeared from our vantage point, to pull down Bailey. We'll get a better look here.
Well, Hauser's played an outstanding defensive ball game, and it'll be interesting to see if it is. But it's a penalty, obviously, but whether it's a face mask or a horse collar, let's see right here. He's coming off the outside edge. Oh, he's just got it back of his jersey. That's all he had. Nice job of fighting off the offensive lineman right there. Wow.
They will walk it off.
That's a big, big penalty right there. And I'll save judgment on that particular call. That really hurts. with 2:50 left on the clock. It was outstanding defensive play.
I'll say it was a personal foul call against Loyola, and the clock runs. 2:45 to play. Remember, the Ramblers have just 2 timeouts remaining. They had to use one to prevent a delay of game on their last offensive possession.
There's Bailey keeping the football.
Clock continues to move.
Timeout
So right now, well, you talk about emotions up and down, about the exchange of turnovers. The interception looked forward on an unlikely pass from Bailey. Then Darian Rhodes picks off Weaver to give the Raiders the ball.
Well, part of that was the ill-conceived idea of throwing the football in that situation instead of running the clock. And I think they learned their lesson from that turnover, that this time they're just going to keep it on the ground, run the clock, and run Bailey. You can see there the offensive coordinator explaining exactly what he wants done with a little enthusiasm. Here's the defensive coordinator and head coach right here. Coach HOLECEK has really done a great job. Both these coaches have done a nice job as far as their schemes for the game tonight. Awful lot of talent and speed on that Bolingbrook team.
Boy, especially on the defensive side. They've only allowed 182 yards tonight for the 8A record for that championship game, 235. Meanwhile, the Bolingbrook offense, 372 yards.
Well, at 372 yards and only have 21 points on the board, that kind of tells you how well Loyola has played them. A lot of people thought there'd be a lot of more points on the board coming from Bolingbrook tonight.
Bailey stretching for the first down. He'll be about 2 yards short. Again, Loyola can only stop the clock one more time by way of a timeout. So we approach 2 minutes to play. Bolingbrook looking for their first ever football state championship.
We were touching on that offensive fact there. Bolingbrook usually averages 37 points a game, and they total about 460 yards of total offense. About 326 of those yards on run throughout a game, and about a 73-yard average passing it. So that balance of 461 total yards, you can see they like to run it more than throw it.
The officials here glancing to the south end zone. They're looking to reset the game clock. Thought for a second it may have been the play clock. They want 2:04 now on the clock. The game clock, and now they wind it to 2:04. Plus you get the 25-second play clock. Bolingbrook can really grind this one down to about the minute 40 mark.
Each team with one timeout apiece. Bolingbrook really won't want to use theirs. They want to make Loyola use theirs.
The shotgun. Bailey will give it.
Oh! Stops the clock going out of bounds. You're kidding me.
Jaden Huff had the carry. He used clock to get sideline to sideline.
Oh my, I bet Coach HOLECEK is a little concerned about that. Right there, he's talking to him right exactly about that. Was he down inbounds or was he going out of bounds before his knee touched? Let's take a good look. Oh, wow. Well, we're up here.
And with that, Loyola will take their final timeout with 90 seconds left. It will be a 4th down and 4.
You can see right there the official debating with the coaches whether he was out of bounds or not, which would have stopped the clock.
That is a tough call.
It sure is, and forced Loyola to use another timeout by that call within inches. If it was either way, forced Loyola to use that last timeout.
Jaden Huff with the carry. Keep an eye on his hand here.
Yeah, well, you know what? We'll go back to the old adage, without officials, there's no football game.
Right.
And in the state of Illinois, we've got some of the best officials in the country. There's no doubt about it at the high school level. And that's a real close call. And of course, we have the benefit of instant replay. And so we can, I don't want to debate them, but we get a chance to see something a little different. They do it right at the moment. and they do a fantastic job throughout the year. So I give them a lot of credit, a lot of kudos.
It is 4th down and 4, and the Raiders to go for it. Looking to get Loyola to jump. The Ramblers would have none of that.
And they take their last time out.
Great discipline by the Loyola Ramblers to not flinch on the 4th and 4.
Here's a good shot of Bailey and what he's looking at going into the end zone there. He's got those big splits between the center and the guard, and they've been doing that all day long, and that certainly has opened it up for Bolingbrook's offense in the second half, which has added another dimension. And there's that big play where the ball slipped out. Couldn't tell if he was about to throw or whatever, but a big turnover for Loyola in that long field goal.
That gave the Ramblers 17-14 lead.
And here's the big play right there. Thought you had him stop for about a gain of 1 yard, turns into 6. He's done it all year long.
And then they nearly give it back. In fact, they do give it back. It did not cost Bolingbrook here on that interception by Ford, because the other way, the pickoff by Darian Rhodes.
Kind of forcing the ball into coverage there.
Now, Bailey is deeper. He will back up, looking to punt. Loyola has nobody deep. Low snap. Just punches it.
That's smart play by Bailey. Real smart play.
Loyola will have 1 minute and 23 seconds. They will need to go 84 yards. A field goal will not do it. They need to get into the end zone.
Couple of things here. Loyola throughout the entire year. Now, let's consider the weather conditions, but Loyola's had about 3 or 4 outstanding receivers. They catch the ball extremely well. Weaver's had a great year throwing the football. You know, he's thrown for over 2,000 yards. Now it comes down to this right now. Can he do it? He's been off his game the entire game. All he needs to do is have this drive, and it'll bring him right back to where he was initially. And it's not Weaver quarterback.
Is that Pujols back there? Peter Pujols. He and Weaver were actually battling for the starting quarterback spot going into this season after Weaver had been the starter all last year. Pujols, just a junior, he'll take over the quarterback duties next year, but right now he's got them for the final minute 19.
Kind of an interesting change in substitution here. Bringing in somebody who hasn't thrown the ball the entire day.
Pujols throws it 2 straight passes to Connor Person, both incomplete. Third down and 10 here for Loyola. As you see Malcolm Weaver on the sidelines. They've been dinged up a little bit on that last possession. He's into it right now from the sidelines. Third and 10.
He wants him to pull up. He didn't get the count to center.
Pujols. That's nearly intercepted.
Just really has nothing on the football thrown. It almost looks as if the football slips out of his hand.
And if Malcolm Weaver was like this is Marquise Hayes.
That could be.
That's Marquise Hayes.
But Weaver could have gotten banged up when he was in on that last series, because after he threw that pass, he did lay back there for quite a while before he came off the field.
It's Darian Rhodes that was down for Bolingbrook. He had that huge interception a few moments ago.
These kind of weather conditions are not conducive to a long comeback down the field throwing the football. Not only just the rain, but also the swirling wind that's down on the field.
Well, this play, once we get it set, decide this ball game. 4th down and 10.
This could be a combination of a cramp and hydrate at the same time he's getting the cramp massaged. It's been an interesting football game. A lot of peaks and valleys, a lot of turnovers. Some resulted in scores and others were not that upsetting to one team or another. We've had kind of everything in this football game.
Loyola needs 10 yards to keep their hopes for a state championship alive. anything less than 10, and Bolingbrook is going to pocket their first state championship in football.
Well, this would be one heck of a comeback with a new quarterback in there on 4th down.
Out of Pujols' hands, incomplete. Bolingbrook will take over with 64 seconds to play, and Loyola out of timeouts.
Well, Loyola gave it its best shot. There's no doubt about that. Of course, there's a minute left. There could be a turnover here. You never know. But
it will take a couple of clean snaps.
Sometimes you celebrate, you know, when you're within a touchdown of the game change, and I would not, if I was up by 2, I might be celebrating with this much time left in that kind of field position, but I don't know. Stranger things have happened. Just ask Loyola last year about Maine South with less than 30 seconds left, and they fumbled the ball in the end zone, and Maine South, who Loyola was beating, won the football game.
There is the first snap and the first knee. The Bolingbrook fans going crazy on the far side. Loyola fought so hard the last 3 years to get to this championship game. They did it this season. They led 17-14. Then Aaron Bailey, a 33-yard run with 5 minutes left. He can take this clock down to under 30 seconds if he can wait. He's watching the play clock.
Well, Bolingbrook was here in 1993. Phil Acton brought him down here, and they did not come home with a state championship, but this trip they are.
And they will not have to snap it again. In 1993, it was a snowy day. Quarterback was Greg Williams. He's now an assistant coach with the San Diego Chargers. Bolingbrook losing to Belvedere 7-0. But tonight in Champaign, they claim state football title #1.
Well, both teams deserve to be a state champion. They both played extremely well here. And it was just a few breaks here and there, and a lot of Aaron Bailey making a big play when they needed it.
Many turnovers here in the second half, but it's Bailey's 33-yard touchdown run that helps crown the Bolingbrook Raiders your Class 8A state champions in 2011. Post-game coverage coming up next on the IHSA television network.
We are back at Memorial Stadium in Champaign, ready to officially crown our 8A state champion Bolingbrook Raiders. A 21-17 win over Loyola Academy. A sloppy, wet game made for some sloppy play, but Bolingbrook perseveres, and both teams ready to take home their trophies here in just a few minutes. Jack and Dave, it was a game. One way or another, right?
Indeed. In fact, there was so much happening here, it's almost hard to believe it was just a 4-point difference at 21-17, a relatively low-scoring game for games we've seen throughout this weekend. But for Loyola, they came with that strong defense. They showed their strong defense, gave up a lot of yards, only 21 points, but offensively just never really could kick it in gear.
They really couldn't do anything. It was an off night for Malcolm Weaver. There's no doubt about that. He certainly had a better year through his 13 games, excuse me. Tonight was an off night for him, but give credit to Loyola. They did a great job stifling Bailey throughout most of the night. Just that one particular time he makes the big play, but that's what he's done all year long.
Let's take a look at those final statistics in this ball game. First of all, you take a look at total yards for Loyola, just 182 total yards. Bolingbrook outgains them by a 2-1 margin, and with the big time of possession advantage as well.
Well, actually, Loyola was very one-dimensional tonight. During the year, they weren't like that. They were able to run the ball at most times and throw the football. Tonight, they were just more pass-orientated for whatever reason. It just didn't work out for them.
Well, the question I think a lot of folks will ask, Loyola fans would ask, would the weather conditions impact Loyola more or Bolingbrook more? Did they impact Loyola in their offense?
Well, I think it did a little bit, but it still came down to tremendous team speed on both sides of the ball for Bolingbrook. No matter what plays that Loyola ran, they were eventually run down. and that's the speed that you can't compensate for that. And Loyola has had a great run all year long. They played great defense, but they've never played against a team like they played against tonight in Bolingbrook that has that tremendous team speed.
See David Carter, number 33 there, really unable to contain himself there, and how tough that is. You roll through the summer, you have an outstanding regular season, 4-0 in the playoffs. You come into this game with a 13-0 record. Your only loss of the season comes in the final minutes of the final game of the year.
Well, that's a very tough swing. Hopefully next week they'll have recovered by it. You know, teenagers are very resilient. They'll have a trophy. They'll know that they have been down here. They gave it their best shot. The coaches will do everything that they can to get their morale up and let them know that they had a great year.
David Carter will leave the field, and that will open up the podium for the Bolingbrook Raiders. So we said both these teams back in 1993 made it to the state finals, not in the same class. Loyola won their only state football title with a 7-0 victory over Downers Grove South. It was the Bolingbrook Raiders, their football team that year, that lost to Belvedere by the identical score of 7-0. And this is a long road that they have crossed through as well.
Well, you can see that young man right there, number 55, Bain. He'll be down here for the next 4 years at the University of Illinois, and he was a critical part of their offense. Their offensive line most of the year didn't get the accolades that they deserved. They did a great job for that running game and certainly for Bailey throughout the year. And then the other part of it is what brings you down to championship games. It's defense. And Bolingbrook had an excellent defense as well as Loyola. That brought them both to this point. And Bolingbrook got over the top a little bit more because they had just a little bit more offense.
Let's send it down to our podium and our PA announcer, Jeff Fritzen.
Now Mr. Klett will present this year's state championship Class 8A team trophy to the Raiders of Bolingbrook, who finished the season with a final record of 13 wins and 1 loss.
Better hang on to that trophy. The ball was a little bit slippery tonight. That trophy's a little bit wet, but it says first place 2011 state football championship. There's your final score. Bolingbrook 21, Loyola 17. Stay right there. We have highlights and more coming up right after this.
Welcome back to Memorial Stadium. Our 2011 football state championships are complete. We have our Class 8A champions. I am standing by now with Bolingbrook head coach John Ivelo. Coach, like we said at half, Anthony Bailey, he was going to come up with that big play for you. How did it feel to see him scamper into the end zone for that final score to give you the lead?
Better than them scampering into the end zone. I'll tell you that. But wow, what a feeling. We got all of our ex-players here, ex-coaches, current. It's just a great feeling, great for the community. Look at all these people out here. That's awesome. They deserve it.
How relieved were you to see that final pass soaring incomplete towards your sideline, know that this state championship was secure for your team?
You know what, it took about 1 second. I wanted to make sure there's no flags. Then I just gave the old fist clench, and yeah, it was good. It was great.
Well, congratulations, Coach, and to the Bolingbrook Raiders. They are your newly crowned Class 8A state champions. We'll be back with more post-game coverage after this.
We are back at Memorial Stadium in Champaign. Aaron Bailey, the quarterback of the 8A state champion Bolingbrook Raiders. You've had a chance to celebrate a little bit, talk with some fans. How's it feel right now?
Man, I'm excited. It's truly a blessing from God. Words can't describe how I feel right now. I'm so excited. I can imagine how my team feels. And to win state for football at Bolingbrook High School, the first time, it's truly a blessing.
I know you guys went through adversity all season long. You went through some adversity tonight, some tough handles with the rain and everything, but you fought through it. You got the touchdown when you needed to get a big touchdown for your team. Talk about your night tonight.
Oh, it was great. You know, I give it all to God. My offense played great. Defense got great field position for us. It was great. De'Aaron got his first interception. It couldn't have came at a better time for us, and it was great. I followed Bain, and God just opened it up for me.
Congratulations, Aaron. Go celebrate. Aaron Bailey and the Bolingbrook Raiders are your 8A state champions. A proud night to be a Bolingbrook Raider, Dave.
Indeed, Aaron. As for Aaron Bailey, he made Robbie Bain. Robbie Bain will be playing on this field. Aaron Bailey, he's got another year left in that Bolingbrook uniform. He's got a state championship in his back pocket. Highlights coming up next. Team pictures being held here as they are after every championship game. Bolingbrook Raiders, that's going to be on a lot of folks' walls here as are these highlights in their video vault. Here in your 8A championship game, Loyola got things started. Reed Mahalik on his 25-yard run. Ramblers took that early 7-0 lead. But then it was Aaron Bailey. His night got started with this 10-yard touchdown.
Well, that's what he needed to do the entire night, and he finally got into it right there, and that's what Loyola did not want him to do. There's that big play where the punter drops down to a knee.
That sets up this short 1-yard touchdown run for Jaden Huff and a lead for Bolingbrook.
And they actually stopped him on 4 occasions right there, but the last one was an inch too short.
Malcolm Weaver would come right back, tie that ball game at 14 at the half. Then in the second half, an exchange of turnovers. Things got crazy for a while.
Well, they really did. They went back and forth. It seemed as if nobody wanted to have the football, but here's that long field goal that put Loyola up. Most people didn't think he could kick it that way into the wind, and here comes Bailey, who finally breaks one. This is what everybody expected, and Loyola was trying to stop. But good ones, cream comes to the top, and that's exactly what he did.
That touchdown came with 5 minutes left, and then with possession of the ball with about 4 minutes left, an interception by Ford. The other way, though, Darian Rhodes steps in front of that pass by Malcolm Weaver, and for all intents and purposes, that was the ball game here tonight. And, you know, we came here, Jack, expecting a great game in 8A, maybe a little bit unconventional for the way things played out, but in the end, final score 21-17, indicative of how close these two teams were matched.
Well, they're both excellent football teams, and oftentimes when that happens, you're going to find a score like this. I mean, they're both big, strong programs. They do a great job. I think part of what happened today was there was too much speed in the secondary for Malcolm Weaver. I think I put him down early, and I don't mean it that way, but that he had an off game. But I think a lot of credit needed to go to the Bolingbrook secondary. They were all over the receivers of Loyola, and that contributed greatly to his tough game at throwing the football this afternoon.
Jack, as always, my pleasure to be standing next to you here for announcing our 12th, I believe, state championship football games.
Well, I'm happy to be here. It's always fun, David.
All right, we're not quite done yet here at Memorial Stadium. We'll wrap things up, recap the great 8 games of football we have had all weekend long. There's your 8A champions, Bolingbrook Raiders. Back after this. 24 hours of football here in Champaign over the course of 2 days, capped off by your 8A championship game. There's your final score. Bolingbrook 21, Loyola 17, Bolingbrook's first state football championship. What a weekend here in Champaign. How memorable it was. After championships by Dakota, Morrison, Aurora Christian, and Rochester yesterday, record-setting performances in 5A. Montini knocking off Joliet Catholic Academy. In 6A, Prairie Ridge gets the best of Peoria Richwoods. Rockford Boylan in 7A. They pick up their second straight state championship, and we culminated it later on tonight with the win by Bolingbrook over Loyola Academy. For everybody involved here on the IHSA Television Network, we're so glad you've joined us. The memorable 2011 State Football Championships have come to a close. I'm Dave Bernhardt. Thanks for watching, everybody.